and after Ling walked out of the sedan chair, she lightly treaded, then walked 2 steps forward. Only then did she stand completely straight in the middle of the luxurious dance stage. Ling's eyes blinked, and after she very casually swept her gaze over the crowd, she opened her red lips and spoke with her sweet, beautiful, and enchanting voice. "The person whom I love, his name is Chu Feng." "What? I haven't heard wrong, right? It's Chu Feng." After Ling spoke, it was like a thunder in a clear sky, and people's expressions greatly changed to shock. All of them were stupefied, and some even endlessly yelled madly. It had to be said that everyone on scene were stunned by Ling's words, because what they thought of was that the person could be Jai Qingming, could be Xu Zhongyu. It could also be an unknown yet a person who had a handsome face, but they never would have thought that the person would be Chu Feng. Who was Chu Feng? He was a person with heavy crimes who the current 6 big powers were uniting to apprehend. The people in the continent of the 9 provinces should be disgusted with him, and righteous people should kill him. Ling. Yet Ling had actually stood out and said the person she liked was Chu Feng. Was it possible that she was an idiot, or did she still not know about Chu Feng's matters, and was still lost in Chu Feng's outer righteous appearance? It had to be said that after the name Chu Feng was spoken from Ling's mouth, a huge uproar was ignited. Everyone on scene could no longer remain calm. "Damn it, it's Chu Feng again. God damn, it's him. He should die. He should truly die. Which part of that brat is good? Why did even Lady Ling fall to him?" But at that very instant, the ones with the most stirred-up emotions were Tang Yixiao, Song Qingfeng, Bai Yunfei, and Liu Xiaoyao. They who had fallen in love with Ling for a long time never would have thought that the one who ultimately took away Ling's heart was the brat they hated the most, Chu Feng. If the one Ling loved was Jai Qingming or Xu Zhongyu, even if it wasn't them, they could still accept it. But when it was Chu Feng, they could really not accept it. It's that brat called Chu Feng. What virtue or ability does he have? How is he worthy for my Ling? At the same time, Murongyu also angrily yelled. He, who was not on good terms with Tang Yixiao and the others, was currently facing the problem of the one Ling loved. Unexpectedly, he was standing on the same line of battle as Tang Yixiao and the others. In reality, although many people didn't have appearances that were as violent as theirs, nor as lofty as them, they were similarly endlessly furious in their hearts. For example, Jai Qingming, the genius who already successfully set up a marriage with a lady from the prestigious villa. Within his sleeves, his fists were already powerfully clenched tightly, and the flames of fury in his body was currently running amok everywhere. But his roaring killing intent was not leaking anywhere. He was very bitter. Bitter that he lost to a brat he looked down upon, and the one he loved had actually loved a person he hated. In reality, not to mention the people of the young generation being extremely shocked, even the ones in the old generation were the same. At that instant, the heads of the 6 big powers were all there. Their eyes narrowed slightly, their gazes flickered, and they were somewhat unable to see through the young female on the stage, because when Ling said that name, it was equal to declaring war to them. The consequences were very serious. Not only did it isolate herself, it even pushed the prestigious villa to the fiercest place of the battle. And as the summit of the mountain peak was in chaos and people's thoughts were in all sorts of complications, Ling seemed abnormally calm, and she continued speaking. To love a person, there is no need to change oneself. To love a person, there is no need to make things hard for oneself. To love a person, even more so, one should not be wronged, because in true love there should be more sweet than sorrow, greater happiness than pain. For true love, even if it is within a deep, endless ocean of pain, as long as my heart doesn't change, I will still be happy within. So, to love a person, one should ignore their own safety for him. To love a person, one should give everything possible for him. To love a person, one should have an eternally unchanging heart. No matter what kinds of difficulties or dangers there are forward, one does not become timid. One does not be shaken. Even if that person becomes the enemy of the world, then I will also be willing to be by his side and fight against the world together with him. The person whom I love is Chu Feng. No matter how the world's people see him, no matter how they loathe him, no matter how they hate him, I, Ling, choose him. I do not waver on this, and I only approve of him. No person can shake my heart. No object can shake my heart. In this current life, I will only love Chu Feng and none other. My heart is willing and I have no regrets. Today, I, Ling, will withdraw from the prestigious villa, and from now on, I am no longer a disciple of the prestigious villa, nor villa head Qin Lei's foster daughter. From today on, no matter what I do, it is completely unrelated to the prestigious villa. Ling's voice was very soft and pleasant, but it resonated next to people's ears, and every single word and phrase stunned them. Heavens! Ling is actually willing to do all that for Chu Feng, to even cut off the relationship between her and the prestigious villa to be by Chu Feng's side, and to fight against the world with Chu Feng. It is truly a shame, truly a shame. How can such a beauty be so idiotic? Chu Feng is a despicable and shameless person. How is he worthy for Lady Ling to treat him like that? Many people cried injustice for Ling and felt that Chu Feng wasn't worthy enough for her, and even more so, not worthy enough for her to do all that to that point. A female like that is blind like that. Indeed, this is extremely rare to see in this world. It must be said that Chu Feng is truly lucky to be able to take away the heart of a female like that. His life is quite worth it. Actually, thinking more carefully, this is also strength. No matter what Chu Feng has done, after all, he is a genius. We've seen his talent, and his courage is outstanding as well. After all, within the underground palace that day, he was the only person who dared to save Lady Ling. From the situation of that day, I do feel that Ling's choice is right. Actually, only Chu Feng is the one truly worth it for her to love, and only Chu Feng is worthy for Ling. But some people also felt that Ling was mad with love. She was a perfect female, and no matter what Chu Feng had done, at least Chu Feng madly loved Ling as well, so the two of them matched quite a bit. God damn, what are the ways of the world these days? Is this the so-called if it's not a bad guy, women want love? It's fine if such an excellent beauty like Ling doesn't choose us, but she doesn't even choose Mu Rong Yu. She doesn't choose Xu Zhongyu. She doesn't even choose Jai Qingming, and she had to choose the wanted criminal Chu Feng. What the hell is she thinking? However, some people also had no way of accepting that fact and felt that Ling was simply an ignoble person. They had actually felt unfairness towards Jai Qingming and the others, and they started to loudly curse. This was the so-called same rice feeds 100 types of people. Every person's thoughts were different. Every person's view on things was different. But no matter what they thought, how they saw it, it was impossible to change Ling's heart because she had already chose Chu Feng. Lady Ling, you are simply stooping and cutting off your great future by wishing to accompany Chu Feng. I advise you to think 3 times before making your move. But just at that time, the vice chief of the Jai clan, Jai Yan, walked out from the crowd. His voice was very loud and clear, and the gaze in which he looked at Ling with was also a bit unkind. Lady Ling, Vice Chief Jai is correct. You cannot destroy yourself for a bastard brat like Chu Feng. At the same time, behind him, the head of the Hidden White School, the head of the Fire God School, the head of the Iwangang School, and the heads of the Free and Unrestrained Valley and the Sword God Valley walked out simultaneously, and slowly neared the high stage that Ling was on. After all, Ling telling the crowd all this was the same as telling everyone in the world that she was going to chase after Chu Feng's footsteps and become the 6 big powers' enemy. If those words were said behind their backs, then whatever. But at that very instant, Ling was saying that in front of them. It was simply slapping their faces in front of the crowd, and totally, she didn't put them in her eyes. If they sat there and didn't do anything about it, then where would their faces be? There is no need for any of you to advise what I, Ling, wish to do, because none of you have any way of affecting me. Even more so, none of you can interfere with what I want to do. Zi Ling's little mouth curled, and she had a very stubborn and determined appearance. Lady Zi Ling, this means that you have decided to make us enemies. Jia Yan's eyes narrowed as he indifferently asked, "So what if I am?" Zi Ling glared her eyes. She who knew the truth already felt badly towards Jia Yan in her heart, and she felt very displeased towards him. "Since it is like this, you cannot blame us for being impolite to you." Jia Yan was quite straightforward. His tone suddenly became cold, and there was not a single trace of caring or consideration for females. He waved his big sleeve and emanated the aura of the 5th level of the Heaven Realm, planning to attack Zi Ling. "I would quite like to see who dares to attack my precious granddaughter." But just at that time, Zi Xiaoyuan soundlessly appeared next to Zi Ling, and at the same time, a burst of formless aura also started to spread out with him as the middle. Although that aura was formless, it caused all things to be deformed. The air tore, the space twisted, and the gorgeous dancing stage underneath his feet was instantly destroyed. Countless cracks started to extend from the mountain peak under him. Even Jia Yan and the other heads grimaced from the burst of aura, and they were constantly forced back. They had no way of even fighting back. And other than Jia Yan and the others, the young generation characters on scene rolled around as they were blown. Some people even directly fainted away from the pressure and could not rise as they laid on the ground. Zi Xiaoyuan. After Zi Xiaoyuan appeared, many people recognized him. After all, within the 1,000-monster mountain that day, Zi Xiaoyuan had saved many superb geniuses in the young generation, so many people had deep impressions of Zi Xiaoyuan and knew that he was a very outstanding senior expert. However, they never would have thought that Zi Xiaoyuan would be this strong. Even Jia Yan and the others could not get near him. That was a bit too terrifying. With an old man like him in the prestigious villa fortifying its position, didn't that mean that the prestigious villa very possibly surpassed the World Spirit Guild and the Jai clan, having a chance to become the #1 power in the continent of the 9 provinces? So your senior Zi Xiaoyuan, we meet because of fate today, and truly, well met, well met. However, I've heard that you're a kind-hearted, righteous character. I wonder why you would interfere with us. Could it be that today you wish to assist the evildoer and stand out for Chu Feng to oppose us? After Zi Xiaoyuan appeared, Jia Yan instantly lost his temper. He first respectfully clasped his hands towards Zi Xiaoyuan before speaking. Because, from the might just now, Jia Yan felt an aura even more powerful than Jai Xingpeng, which meant that Zi Xiaoyuan was an expert who had strength even higher than the 6th level of the Heaven Realm. A character like him wasn't someone they could fight against. If Zi Xiaoyuan truly wanted to help Chu Feng, it was likely that they could not do anything to Chu Feng, at least before his old ancestor came out. His Jai clan could absolutely not look into anything about Chu Feng. I do not have any association with Chu Feng. His life is not the slightest bit related to me, so I will not stand out for him to attack you. However, my precious granddaughter is different. She is my only relative right now. And if there is anyone who dares to touch her, no matter who that person is, I will not have mercy. I will definitely make him pay a painful price. As he spoke those words, Zi Xiaoyuan revealed his killing intent, and with a mere glance at that gaze, one's heart would tremble. Senior, please don't misunderstand. I don't have any malicious thoughts towards Lady Zi Ling, but I just don't want her to step onto the wrong path, so I just reminded her out of kindness. Jia Yan hurriedly explained because he felt that if the old man wanted to kill him, he would have no way of escaping. HMPH, does my granddaughter need you to remind her? All in all, today, I'll put these words here. Chu Feng's life is completely unrelated to me. But if there is anyone who dares to harm my granddaughter, I will exterminate his entire family, destroy his ancestors' graves, and make him unable to turn his life around eternally. Zi Xiaoyuan coldly snorted, and quickly after, he suddenly waved his big sleeve and a burst of violent gale came sweeping by. After the gale dissipated, Zi Xiaoyuan and Zi Ling had already disappeared, and they only left a dumbfounded crowd behind who had faces filled with fear that stayed behind. Linger, are you still truly planning to follow that boy Chu Feng? On a tall mountain several hundred miles away from the prestigious villa, xianxia stood with his hands behind his back and smiled at his cherished granddaughter. Grandfather, don't you hope that I can find a reliable person? I feel like Chu Feng is such a person. Ling sweetly smiled and said, reliable. That boy is reliable. It would be quite nice if he doesn't kill you. Right now, by following him, you will live a life of being chased after by people every day. This is the so-called reliable you speak of. Xianxia curled his lips. Although his words were a bit unkind, his face did not have too much blame. He dares to sacrifice himself for me, so why can't I sacrifice myself for him? On Ling's face of absolute beauty, her smile became even sweeter. You girl, I truly can't do anything to you. Whatever, I'll let you experience some dangers. It will at least be better than always succeeding. After all, sooner or later, you will return to your homeland. This little continent of the 9 provinces cannot hold you in. Before leaving, I'll help you one more time and see if you can successfully make a breakthrough into the heaven realm. If you succeed this time, I'll let you go find Chu Feng. Xianxia gravely said. Then if I can't succeed? After hearing those words, Ling's little face instantly tensed up. If you cannot succeed, then I'll still let you go, you little girl. Xianxia used his finger to lightly tap Ling's forehead, and both helplessness and dotingness was on his face. I knew that you would treat me the best. Hearing those words, Ling rejoiced. If she could truly step into the heaven realm, when she arrived by Chu Feng's side, there would be an extra layer of safety. But if she could not step into the heaven realm, she would also look for Chu Feng impatiently. After all, the current Chu Feng was truly located inside of tens of thousands of dangers. The curtains of the marriage gathering fell just like that. Yet people were greatly amazed, and it surpassed almost everyone's expectations. Because the marriage gathering gathered the peak geniuses from all places in the continent of the 9 provinces. After it ended, the matter about Ling announcing her love for Chu Feng was unavoidably spread. However, Chu Feng, who was hiding within the mountain cave, did not know any of those things. After a full few days of rebound torment, the power of the forbidden medicines rebound finally started to fade away, and after Chu Feng's body gradually recovered, he didn't leave the mountain cave. He took out the 1,050,000 profound beads and started his journey of refinement. Although the present Chu Feng had no way of getting the tiniest bit of news from the outside world, he could also guess that the 7 powers wouldn't easily forgive him, and they would certainly do whatever they could to search for him, and even set up wanted posters for him. And at a time like this, Chu Feng could not rely on anyone, and he could only raise his cultivation. However, even if he had 1,050,000 profound beads on him, Chu Feng did not know what state he could raise himself to. After all, the divine lightning in his dantian were too savage. Every time he successfully broke through, the resources required next time to break through would multiply by many times. This point was really a bit unbearable for Chu Feng. Damn it, all of you can eat too much. Are you even letting me live? A good 1,050,000 profound beads. 1,050,000. It only let me break through 2 levels of cultivation. I couldn't even reach the 6th level of the profound realm. What can I take to feed you in the future now? At that instant, within the mountain cave that Chu Feng was in, bursts of howling resounded because after 2 full days of refinement, Chu Feng finally finished refining the 1,050,000 profound beads. But the result caused Chu Feng to not be able to accept it. Although he knew that he couldn't hope the 1,050,000 profound beads would allow him to leap 1,000 miles at once and directly step into the 7th level of the heaven realm, in which it was the realm he could become a blue cloak world spiritist. He thought that he could at least enter the 6th level of the profound realm. But the reality was not as how Chu Feng imagined it to be. Although large amounts of profound power were still accumulated inside Chu Feng's dantian currently, and the distance to the sixth level of the profound realm was just a tiny bit. It was something that Chu Feng found hard to accept. Chu Feng, for all things, if there are advantages, there are disadvantages. Although breaking through a single level of cultivation requires a huge price, and that price is getting heavier and heavier, you still got a benefit that you should get. Think carefully. Within the current continent of the 9 provinces, who is able to defeat you while being the same age as you? You have already been invincible from those of the same age, and right now, you have an elite armament on you. Even if, on the surface, you have the cultivation of the 5th level of the profound realm, your true battle power can already be compared to the heaven realm. Even if you cannot defeat the heaven realm, they would still be unable to do anything to you, right? But for normal people, if they are in the profound realm, it would be impossible for them to fight against experts in the heaven realm. This is your advantage. This is where you are strong in, so there is nothing really worth complaining about. As for resources, you don't need to worry about that either. This world is huge. The continent of the 9 provinces is but a small tip of the iceberg. The so-called there are skies beyond this sky. All of this truly exists. So, no matter how much more enormous cultivating resources you require, there are places where you get them. In this world, profound beads and heaven beads aren't the only things that can raise your cultivation. There are also many strange objects in between the heaven and the earth that has effects of raising cultivation. Even the blood and flesh of some special monstrous beasts can raise cultivation, and the effect can even be better. And the thing that I want to remind you about is that you have ways of getting them. Eggy reminded, "Don't worry, Eggy. I haven't been discouraged, nor have I been depressed. I just wanted to vent some of my annoyances. After all, it was 1,050,000 profound beads." Chu Feng chuckled. He knew that Eggy was worried about himself, and was afraid that he would be dispirited from having too much burdens and pressure, which would cause him to lose confidence for the future. I've been in isolation for so long, and I haven't eaten a good meal in many days. I'm hungry. I want to go out to find some things to eat, and also inquire about the situation outside. While I'm at it, perhaps that girl Ling is searching for me. I'll wait until that girl finds me, then I'll leave this Qin province. As Chu Feng spoke, he found a set of commoner-like clothing and quickly after, took out a ragged conical hat and put it on his head. Only after concealing his own appearance did he leave the mountain cave, and he headed towards a place where there were human residences. Chu Feng walked on air and his speed was extremely fast. Before flying for long, he saw a relay station under the clouds. Although that station was created in the desolate plains, as the location of traffic was rather good, and there were also many people coming back and forth, it was the best place to obtain food and news. So Chu Feng intentionally circled around and landed in an area where there were no people before walking towards the relay station. After entering, Chu Feng directly walked into the tavern, found an empty table and sat down there. However, when he raised his head to look, his gaze couldn't help but flash because he discovered that on the wall of the tavern, there was a wanted poster posted there. And looking at the painting on the wanted poster, it was none other than him. Apprehend Chu Feng alive and hand over the Asura ghost axe. 1,000,000 profound beads will be rewarded. Kill Chu Feng and hand over the Asura ghost axe. 900,000 profound beads will be rewarded. If Chu Feng cannot be killed but valid clues of Chu Feng's hiding location are provided, 10,000 profound beads will be rewarded. After providing clues and Chu Feng gets caught with those, 100,000 profound beads will be rewarded. Rewards can be obtained from the Jai clan, Iwangang School, Fire God School, Hidden White Sect, Free and Unrestrained Valley, and Sword God Valley. After seeing the content on the wanted poster, Chu Feng sneered and hiddenly said to himself, "There's quite some reward. It seems like these powers still have a lot of treasures. The 1,050,000 profound beads I swindled wasn't really much. It's only 1,000,000 profound beads, not to mention suspecting that your Asura ghost axe has treasures within. Even if they're errant treasures, Your Ashura ghost axe is worth far more than 1,000,000 profound beads, right? After all, normal elite armaments here are already priceless treasures, let alone your elite armament that can recognize a master. Eggy said, "That's true, but to be honest, even I am moved with this reward." Chu Feng knew that a reward like that would definitely make many people's hearts move. After all, on the wanted poster, it said that Chu Feng only had the cultivation of the third level of the profound realm. The third level of the profound realm. In the continent of the 9 provinces, that wasn't even anything. There was an uncountable number of people who were stronger than him in cultivation. So Chu Feng felt that many people would search for his whereabouts for that reward. Currently, he was truly forced into a dead end by the 6 big powers. Whatever, I won't think about it. Not to mention some mobs, even if the heads of the 6 big powers appear, they may not be able to catch me. Chu Feng curled his lips. With the methods he currently grasped, other than characters like Jai Xingpeng, the others could truly not do anything to him even if they appeared. Afterwards, he no longer thought about it and he loudly yelled, "Waiter, bring me whatever good wine and meat you have." "Ah, coming." The tavern's waiter didn't dare to be slow, and very quickly, a table of dishes were brought to Chu Feng. In a place like that, there were very few who had recipes for exquisite food, and most of them were simple vegetables, big chunks of meat, big bowls of wine, but they were really delicious. To Chu Feng, who had a stomach rumbling with hunger, those dishes were the most suitable. "Waiter, bring your damn best wine and dishes over here. Today, I invite my 2 sworn brothers to a meal." As Chu Feng was stuffing himself with food, 3 big guys with well-built bodies walked in. The upper bodies of the 3 big guys were bare, and on their healthy muscles, there were dragons and phoenixes. With a glance, one could tell that they weren't any kind people. They seemed more like bandits in the mountain or robbers in the forest. So after those 3 people appeared, the waiter's face instantly greened. Many customers also revealed gazes of fear and didn't dare to look more at them, deeply afraid that the 3 of them would look for trouble. And the 3 people were indeed very domineering. Clearly, there were only 3 people. Yet they chose the big table that could hold over 20 people in the tavern and sat down there. By doing so, it would cause many customers behind them to lose a place suitable for eating. Chu Feng raised his head and looked at the 3. Their ages seemed to be just over 30 years old, and their cultivations were around the peak of the origin realm. Facing people like them, other customers were afraid, but Chu Feng did not put them in his eyes in the slightest. So he didn't pay attention to them, and he only ate, caring about himself. "Ah, big bro, third bro, have you heard of it? The marriage gathering held in the prestigious villa has finally finished." "I've heard of it." This time, the marriage gathering was very successful. The prestigious villa's excellent disciples has successfully set up marriages with the #1 disciple of the World Spirit Guild, Xu Zhongyu, as well as the future chief of the Jai clan, Jai Qingming. A big man with a darker skin color howled with his special loud voice, completely ignoring the feelings of others. "I too have heard of it. The World Spirit Guild and the Jai clan have been said to be the strongest powers in the continent of the 9 provinces. They even have the Jiang dynasty supporting their backs." Being able to successfully set up marriages with those 2 powers, the prestigious villa's future position in the continent of the 9 provinces will be unshakable. Very likely, they will become the strongest power other than the World Spirit Guild and Jai clan. The other big man also added, "How can the news you 2 said be counted as new news?" The bald big man sitting in the middle disdainfully looked at the 2 people. "Big bro, could it be that you've heard of some news that we don't know about?" Seeing that, the 2 others hurriedly asked. "HMPH, of course. My family's boy had participated in this marriage gathering. The news he knows is the most truthful and the most explosive." The bald big man patted his chest and said, when he mentioned his nephew, his face was filled with pride, "Oh, big bro, quickly tell us, what kind of explosive news are there?" Hearing those words, the 2 other big men started to get excited. At the same time, The dozens of people within the tavern all heard the conversions of the three people, and they couldn't help but cast their gazes towards the big man. An appearance of curiosity and washing ears to listen attentively also emerged. After all, the marriage gathering was the most focused thing right now in the Qin province. It was something that many people liked to discuss when they had time. Facing that situation, the bald big man got even more proud. He just straightforwardly slammed the table and stood up with a bang. He said, "Today, I'll tell all of you something that is unknown about the marriage gathering. You should all know who that person is, right?" The bald big man first pointed his finger at Chu Feng's wanted poster. "Of course we know. That brat is called Chu Feng, and he is also one of the participators of this marriage gathering. However, because he was too treacherous and sinister, using the trust that the elders of the several big powers gave him, he hiddenly poisoned the elders, causing them to die. Exactly because of that, he successfully stole away the elite armament that was discovered within the ancient remains that the big powers found. I've heard that the elite armament even had quite an impressive name. I think it was called Asura Ghost Axe." The dark big man said first, "What you've said may not be the truth. From what my nephew said, Chu Feng isn't a sinister person like that. Rather oppositely, he even saved their lives." The bald big man said, "Is it true or not? Chu Feng is only in the 3rd level of the profound realm, and your nephew is in the 6th level of the profound realm, right? That Chu Feng was able to save your nephew's life." The two big men expressed doubt. "HMPH. This is where Chu Feng is impressive. My nephew has always been arrogant and conceited, but when he mentioned Chu Feng, his face was filled with idolization. He said to me that even though Chu Feng had the cultivation of the 3rd level of the profound realm, even those in the 9th level of the profound realm weren't able to defeat him. His battle power was extremely strong, and his talent was the greatest of all the people he had seen. On that day, they went into the 1,000-monster mountain for an event, and they were caught by a monster king of the 1,000-monster mountain. They were imprisoned within the palace, and even though an exceptional expert came to save them from the prestigious villa, they were still within danger. Because, as long as that exceptional expert exchanged blows with the monster king of the 1,000-monster mountain, the entire labyrinth would have collapsed, and they would all be buried within. When everything was hung by a thread, and when it was a matter of life and death, it was Chu Feng who led them and escaped the labyrinth. If it wasn't for Chu Feng who led the way, and if they were one step slower in escaping, it was likely that they would have died from the collapse of the labyrinth." The bald big man said, "That Chu Feng was truly that impressive. Isn't he only a 16-year-old young man?" The bald big man's words caused people to half believe and half doubt after hearing, but they were extremely engrossed by it. All of them put down the bowls and chopsticks in their hands, and some even just went close to the big man's side and seriously listened. "Every word is true. I heard my nephew say that the future chief of the Jai clan, Jai Qingming, challenged Chu Feng because of some conflicts in words with him. For fairness, Jai Qingming intentionally suppressed his cultivation to the 3rd level of the profound realm to fight with Chu Feng. Take a guess. What were the results of the fight?" The bald big man intentionally kept them in suspense and asked the crowd, "Is there even a need to guess?" Of course, Jai Qingming won. Yeah, Jai Qingming is named as the strongest person in the young generation of the continent of the 9 provinces. Also, he even has an elite armament on him, so how would it be possible for Chu Feng to defeat him? That's right, that's right. Jai Qingming is a person who can destroy the sky and the earth with a raise of his hand or foot. Without even thinking, the crowd gave their answers, and within their eyes, Jai Qingming was simply like a legend. "Ha, all of you heard rumors and not truths. Jai Qingming's that strong. Have any of you personally seen it before?" The big man was furious. He slammed the table and angrily roared, "What? That Chu Feng is actually that strong? If even elite armaments can't stop him, isn't he so strong that he breaks common sense?" After hearing those words, everyone couldn't help but inhale a breath of cool air. Besides, back then when Chu Feng escaped the prestigious villa, My nephew was in the villa. He personally saw, within the prestigious villa, that Chu Feng was sealed in by 13 blue-colored spirit formations. Have any of you even seen a blue-colored spirit formation? The bald big man continues saying, Of course not, but I heard that blue-colored spirit formations can only be laid by blue cloak world spiritists. World spiritists in that level can do anything. They can create anything. There are only things that we can't think of, and nothing that they cannot do. They are simply like gods. I've also heard about blue cloak world spiritists. They are truly like legends, but from what I know, in the continent of the 9 provinces, it seems like characters like them only appear within the World Spirit Guild and Jai clan, right? Is it possible that even the prestigious villa has some? Some person asked. That's right. Blue cloak world spiritists do defy common sense quite a bit. But the blue-colored spirit formations that day weren't laid by a normal blue cloak world spiritist. I heard my nephew say that the blue-colored spirit formation rose from the ground and sealed the sky. It was very majestic. Can you imagine blue-colored spirit formations like those? The big man continued speaking. Heavens, spirit formations that seal the sky. What kind of stunning sight would that be? After hearing those words, everyone breathed in deeply. Then afterwards, they were all dumbfounded, seeming to imagine what the spirit formations that sealed the sky looked like. Whatever, it's better for you not to think. Even if your brains are destroying from thinking, you could not imagine what sight it would be. But I can tell you that the 13 spirit formations which were so strong were all destroyed by Chu Feng. Also, there were Heaven Realm experts who went up to stop Chu Feng, but with an axe they were cut into 2 by him. The bald big man smugly said he could even draw the sounds and expressions of the people there, and he described so precisely that it was as if he personally saw them. Heaven Realm experts were chopped to death by Chu Feng's axe. Could it be that the axe was the elite armament, the Asura ghost axe? People's mouths were widely opened, and their jaws dropped from shock. It should be doubtlessly the Asura ghost axe. But even if it is an elite armament, its might is always limited. What did it mean for Chu Feng to be able to kill Heaven Realm experts and cut open blue-colored spirit formations while grasping an elite armament? It meant that Chu Feng was powerful enough, and he is a real genius, an exceptional person within geniuses. The bald big man's face was filled with idolization as he spoke. If what you said was true, then it means that Chu Feng didn't poison the elders from the several big powers and hiddenly steal the Asura ghost axe. It was that he openly took away the Asura ghost axe, and the elders from the several big powers joined hands to block him, yet they were all unsuccessful, and some even got killed. Then he even broke open the 13 spirit formations that sealed the sky. The crowd asked together. Of course, all of that was personally seen by my nephew, and it is absolutely true. The bald big man said, Whatever, how would that be possible? If everything you said was true, then Chu Feng has already become a god. Why is there a need to hide? However, no one took the big man's words as true, and they all scattered, returned to their own tables, and continued eating and drinking. HMPH, a group of ignorant things. It is truly wasting words by saying all of this to you. Seeing that, the bald big man was a bit angry. He spoke for so long with spit flying everywhere, yet at the end, no one believed him. That truly made a fire in his stomach. So he cast his gaze towards his 2 brothers and asked, Second bro, third bro, do you 2 believe me? Heh, big bro, don't blame me for striking your confidence, but what you said was too unreliable. Chu Feng is but a 16-year-old child. How is it possible for him to be that powerful? The dark big man chuckled and said, Yeah, big bro, you must have been tricked by your nephew. The other one also chuckled, and seeming to be afraid that the bald big man would be angry as he spoke, he even poured wine for him. Whatever, the truth is always hard to accept. Only an intelligent person like me can determine the right and wrong. Seeing that his brothers didn't believe him as well, the bald big man first drank a bowl of wine, then after that, sighed deeply, and he had an appearance of a lonely, intelligent person. It could be seen that he had actually believed everything his nephew said, and believed that Chu Feng was really as strong as how his nephew said he was. "My lords, this way please, this way please." But just at that time, the expression of an old man that seemed to be the manager suddenly became unsettled, as he walked in with a face filled with apologetic smiles. If one observed carefully, they would discover that his body was actually trembling, seeming to be terrified by something. And behind him, there were 18 males. Most of the 18 males seemed to be middle-aged, but there were also some young men. All of their auras were unordinary, and they were all experts in the profound realm. They are all disciples of the Xianxia school. Chu Feng raised his conical hat and revealed a pair of fierce eyes. From their clothing, he recognized the origin of those people. "You three scram." After walking into the tavern, one disciple from the Xianxia school pointed at the three big people at the biggest table and furiously howled. Seeing that, the three did not dare to be the slightest bit slow. As they bowed and smiled apologetically to the disciples of the Xianxia school, they chuckled and gave their seats to them. At that instant, many people were terrified. Even though they did not recognize the identities of the 18 people, they felt that they were extremely dangerous. So some customers secretly stood up and wanted to sneak away. "All of you sit down." However, just at that time, the Xianxia school disciple that seemed to be the leader loudly yelled. His yell frightened many people. The people who left their seats hurriedly returned, and even the waiter and the manager found an empty seat and sat down. "We are core disciples of the Xianxia school. Today, we coincidentally pass by this place, so we will take a small rest here. No need to be afraid, everyone. Those who should eat, eat, and those who should drink, drink. But none of you can leave because I enjoy liveliness when eating. The more people there are, the better. If any of you dare to break my mood, don't blame me for not holding myself back," the disciple of the Xianxia school said. And after hearing those words, almost everyone didn't dare to speak as they fearfully lowered their heads and ate. On that topic, there was quite a coincidence, because the tavern was slightly full at that moment and there were extremely few number of seats. As the three big men panicked, they had actually sat at Chu Feng's table. "I go over to their table and stick with them. Don't bother us three brothers when we eat." The bald big man first pointed at Chu Feng, then quickly after pointed at the four-man table behind Chu Feng, in which there were already three who were seated there. Chu Feng ignored him. He moved his ear to the side and was listening, because he discovered that the Xianxia school disciples were currently talking about some things in low voices. The people beside could not hear the sounds they made, but Chu Feng was able to hear all of them into his ears. "I'm truly goddamn angry." The school head clearly told Tang Yishiu to be responsible for establishing the sub-school in the Qin province, yet the result is him seeking pleasure for the entire day, and he gave everything to us. One of the disciples said, expressing the unfairness, "Ah, don't complain. Who told us to have an inferior position than him, and to have an inferior cultivation than him? Besides, Tang Yishiu isn't the only one like this. The three others from the Fire God School, Hidden White Sect, and Free and Unrestrained Valley are the same. They said that they are remaining in the Qin province to establish a sub-school so Chu Feng could be caught more easily. But in reality, the four of them gathered together, searching for enjoyment and not caring about anything. It has to be said that no matter how much more arrogant the young school head of the Sword God Valley, Mu Rong Yu, is, at least he is working properly. Despite being young, right now, he is indeed diligently creating the sub-valley of the Sword God Valley in the Qin province. Who knows how many times stronger he is than our number one disciple? Although another disciple said don't complain on the surface, in reality within his tone, it was similarly filled with grudges. "Whatever, let's not mention these unhappy things. Come, let's drink. Come drink, come drink. After finishing this meal, we still need to continue hurrying. If we can't finish this sub-school within 1 month, we will definitely be punished by Tang Yishiu." The disciples of the Xianxia school raised their cups together and drank merrily. "Oi, I'm goddamn talking to you. You brat, can't you hear me?" At the same time, the bald big man facing Chu Feng was also angry because he told Chu Feng to leave this table, yet he had actually ignored him. That caused him to feel that he had no face and made things difficult for him. However, because the Iwangang school disciples were there, he also didn't dare to yell loudly. He put his mouth close in front of Chu Feng's body, suppressed his voice, and fiercely threatened, "God damn, if you feign to be deaf and mute, do you believe that I will cut your ears off and cut your tongue off? Seeing that you just spoke some truth today, I'll spare your life." Chu Feng smiled and said, "What, you brat, you dare to threaten me, so shamelessly say that you will spare my life? You are truly looking to die." Hearing Chu Feng's words, the bald big man gnashed his teeth in anger, and he could no longer enduring his current fury. He extended his hand and wanted to grab Chu Feng's clothes. Asterisk whoosh asterisk, but suddenly, Chu Feng's body flashed, and without the bald big man even clearly seeing what happened, Chu Feng had already disappeared. When Chu Feng reappeared, he was actually standing on top of the table of the Iwangang school disciples. He asked, "Who can tell me where Tang Yishiu is right now? Who are you?" Seeing that, the expressions of the Iwangang school disciples changed, and they couldn't help backing away one step. They cautiously inspected Chu Feng, because his speed was really too fast. They didn't even feel it before, so they determined that Chu Feng was a martial cultivation expert. "What? Is it possible that even you don't recognize me?" Chu Feng lightly smiled, and as he spoke, he extended his right hand and gradually took off the grass-weaved conical hat, revealing his elegant face, and that appearance was exactly the same as the one on the wanted poster. "Yo, you're Chu Feng." After seeing Chu Feng, the faces of the Iwangang school disciples who originally had nervous expressions instantly became even more wonderful. "What? He's Chu Feng." At the same time, the others in the tavern also noticed that situation. After detailed comparisons, they discovered that the one currently standing on the table was truly Chu Feng. That terrified the people in the tavern. Many people were so terrified that they directly went under the tables, and they were deeply afraid that they would be pulled down by the fight between Chu Feng and the Iwangang school disciples. The ones closer to the entrance directly broke through the doors and escaped. But at that very instant, the one who had the most wonderful expression was still the bald big man. At that instant, he was lifelessly sitting where he was, and his entire body was unstoppably trembling. The chopsticks in his hand fell, and his originally already ugly face became even more incomparably ugly, showing obvious endless fear. Because, just now, he insulted Chu Feng. He had actually threatened Chu Feng. That caused him, who believed that Chu Feng was very strong, to feel all of his hopes turn into ashes, and felt that he was very likely dead. Catch him, then we can take the large reward. Even if we are the disciples of the Iwangang school, we can still obtain the rewards. Suddenly, someone explosively yelled, and one Iwangang school disciple took the lead to attack Chu Feng. Asterisk bang asterisk, however, Chu Feng struck out with a single palm and that person's body exploded. He didn't even get to cry out before becoming a pool of blood, splattering at the surrounding walls and spilling onto the ground at his feet. Asterisk bang 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 bang. Asterisk quickly after, Chu Feng threw out several more palms, and with a blink, 17 people turned into pools of blood and died horribly. "Young hero, please spare my life. Young hero, please spare my life." At that instant, the face of the Iwangang disciple who prepared to attack yet didn't turned as white as paper, and his eyes were filled with fear. Unhesitantly, he knelt onto the ground and endlessly knocked his head onto the ground while admitting his wrongs. Because, personally seeing the seniors that were just now standing around him alive instantly be turned into pools of blood by Chu Feng, he could truly not control the fearful emotion in his heart. At that moment, he could feel how terrifying Chu Feng was. How was the young man, who was only 16 years old, the trash that Tang Yishiu said he was? He was simply a little devil who was strong to the extreme and killed without blinking. I'll ask one more time. Can you tell me where Tang Yishiu is right now? Chu Feng slowly walked on the table, and only after arriving at the end of the table did he crouch down and question the Iwengang school disciple, endlessly knocking his head on the ground. I know where Tang Yishiu is, but if I tell you, can you spare my life? That disciple was quite smart. He did not directly refuse to answer Chu Feng's question, but he also didn't directly tell Chu Feng where Tang Yishiu was. As long as you can show me the road, I will spare your life, and I will also reward you. Chu Feng's eyes slightly squinted and revealed a dazzling smile that lacked any evil. But in the perspective of that disciple, no matter how he looked at it, he seemed more like a terrifying devil who was lightly smiling at him while embracing malicious intents. However, he had no choice. Even if he knew that Chu Feng would possibly not spare him, he could only choose to lead the road for Chu Feng, because he would at least have a chance to continue living. So, he stood up and said to Chu Feng, I am willing to lead the way. I don't need any reward, and I only hope that you can spare my life. I'm begging you, please don't kill me. In my home, I still have a family of old and young. All of them need to rely on me to live. If I die, they will starve to death as well. Besides, I am only a tiny disciple. The school setting up wanted posters is unrelated to me in the slightest. Don't worry, I said I wouldn't kill you, so I will not kill you. Chu Feng grabbed that disciple's shoulders, then quickly after, a burst of gale swept in. Chu Feng and that disciple had already instantly disappeared from the tavern. After Chu Feng left, the tavern was silent. People were trembling from fright under the tables, and no one dared to move. After a long while, when there were still no movements, the two big men that hid under the table carefully climbed out. However, after they saw the scene in the current tavern, all of them couldn't help but gulp, and their legs almost went limp, almost fainting away from fear. Because within the tavern at that instant, blood was everywhere, not only on the ground. There was even blood on the walls and on the ceiling. That scene was indeed a bit horrifying. Big bro, are you all right? And when the two of them discovered that the bald big man was still lifelessly sitting on the chair, they were immediately shocked, and they hurriedly ran to the bald big man's side. The current him had a lifeless face, and the expression when he first saw Chu Feng still remained on his face. His eyes didn't even blink, and only after a long while did his lips gradually shut and he opened his mouth to say, He is indeed the same as what my nephew said. Very strong. Asterisk poof asterisk. After speaking, the bald big man's body tilted, his legs went limp, and he had actually laid on the table and didn't move. When the two other big men checked what happened to him for a while, their faces greatly changed, because they astonishedly discovered that the big man had actually died. He was scared to death. In the sky within the white clouds, an Azure Dragon flew past. Chu Feng rode on the Azure Dragon, while his left hand was carrying the disciple from the Iwengang School. He was following the direction the disciple said to go and hurrying. That disciple was completely terrified. He never would have thought that Chu Feng, a young man in the profound realm, not only could fly in the air, his speed was even so abnormally fast. He was even quicker than some heaven realm experts he had seen. He could truly not see through Chu Feng. He felt that the young man had no ends to his terror, and the more it was like that, the more uneasy he got, because Chu Feng's strength caused him to feel too small, so small that he could not even take a single attack. Chu Feng, you boy, you aren't truly planning on taking care of Tang Yishiu and the others, right? They have 4 people there, and since there are the #1 disciples of the 4 powers, who are titled as outstanding geniuses of the 9 provinces' young generation, they will definitely have methods that normal people do not. Right now, you are only in the 5th level of the profound realm. Even if you use the power of the divine lightning, you are only in the 7th level of the profound realm. It would still be fine if you fight against normal people in the heaven realm, but I'm afraid that there will be some dangers when facing against them. 4. Eggy already detected Chu Feng's intention, so she hiddenly advised. The 4 powers, the Iwengang School, the Fire God School, the hidden white sect, and the free and unrestrained valley are currently putting up huge sums for the bounty. Sooner or later, I will go look for them to calculate some old debts. Right now, since the four of them are gathered together, it is a rare chance. As for whether I can defeat them with my current cultivation, I am not too clear, but at least I have to try right. Putting aside that I can escape if I cannot defeat them, as they can absolutely not catch up to me, don't forget that I still have a few attacking talisman on me. With my speed, in addition to the might of the attacking talismans, they will not be able to defeat me. This time they will die, without a doubt. Chu Feng was filled with confidence, and he vowed to take their heads. I can truly not do anything to you, but this is fine, since the situation is already like water and fire. Appropriately letting those few powers pay some prices is something that should be done. Eggy seemed to helplessly shake her head, but on her sweet little face, a slight smile of yearning rose. The Qin province was very big, and there were many strong powers in there. Many second-rate powers were even much stronger than the Azure province's Lingyan school, let alone the first-rate powers. And within the many first-rate powers, there was one power that was very special, even though most first-rate powers were very powerful, because of the existences of the prestigious villa and the thick-ground grass prince's mansion. They could only have some fame within the borders of the Qin province. However, there was this one power which was different from the others. Not only was it famous in the Qin province, it was similarly also very famous in other flourishing strong provinces. Also, it received strong love and respect by male experts from many places, and this power even had a very interesting name. It was Like Drunk or Dreaming. The owner of Like Drunk or Dreaming was a mysterious person. No one knew who he was, and the members of the Like Drunk or Dreaming were all beautiful and extremely graceful females who had extremely high cultivation. They opened the gates, welcomed guests that came from everywhere, and they traded appropriate rewards with excellent services. To that point, there was already a guess in many people's hearts. The so-called Like Drunk or Dreaming was actually a place of romance. In more unpleasant terms, it was a high-level brothel, and who they welcomed were big characters from the continent of the 9 provinces. Ah, Tang Gongzi, you're so naughty tilde toying around with me like that. I like it. I'll toy with you however I want to toy with you. Yell. Yell loudly. Quickly speak. Speak the way how I instructed you to. Ah, it feels so good tilde Tang Gongzi, you're so good tilde Z Ling loves Tang Gongzi, and that Chu Feng can't even be compared to Tang Gongzi. Ah tilde tilde tilde, haha, continue, continue. Yell louder. Within a pink-colored palace, Tang Yishiu was performing an indecent action with a coquettish female who was completely naked. The two of their naked bodies tightly wrapped around together, and they were playing around to the extreme. Ah, Brother Tang is still remembering about Zi Ling, and he can't forget. But quite sadly, perhaps that Zi Ling has already went to find Chu Feng, and maybe the two of them have already coiled together. HMPH, that Chu Feng really has some dog crap luck. He actually made Zi Ling love him so unwaveringly. He better not let me see him again, or else I will definitely castrate him and throw his second bro to the dogs. Within the middle of the palace, there was an exquisite table. Bai Yun Fei and Song Qingfeng were sitting on the ground cross-leggedly, and they were currently toasting and drinking merrily. In their embraces, both of them hugged a beauty each that had a certain gracefulness, and also not weak cultivation. Also, surround them, there were many females who had incomplete clothing while circling around them. Some of the females poured wine for them. Some clasped some food with chopsticks for them. Some pinched their feet, and some massaged their backs. Their services were extremely thorough. Tang Yishiu, can you grow up? Zi Ling is only a young little girl. Other than her decent face, where else does she excel at? In terms of skill, where is she superior to the ladies here? Within the palace, there was a red-colored big bed, and thin fabric hung over the bed, concealing everything inside. Liu Xiaoyao was hugging 2 females with a naked body. He stuck his head out and howled loudly at the nearby Tang Yishiu. Liu Gongzi, all of you talk about Zi Ling here and Zi Ling there. Is that Ling truly that good for her to be unforgettable by you? A naked female in Liu Xiaoyao's embrace seductively asked. Haha, there isn't a single good thing about that girl. She is not even comparable to you too. Liu Xiaoyao laughed loudly, turned his body, and then pressed the two females underneath him. Asterisk boom asterisk, but just at that time, a boom suddenly rang out from the shut palace door, and at the same time, the big doors made out of special materials were actually shattered. Quickly afterwards, several males were thrown in, and all of them had pale white faces with blood all over their bodies. They were the juniors from the same schools as Tang Yishiu and the others, and they were responsible for guarding the palace. The sudden change surprised the four people in the palace, and all of them cast their sinister gazes towards the entrance of the palace. Oh, we have only not seen each other for a small period of time, yet you can't recognize me already. Calm laughter rang out, and Chu Feng had already entered the palace. Chu Feng. After seeing Chu Feng, the expressions of the four all changed, and the killing intent in their eyes became even stronger. One of them coldly shouted, Chu Feng, you truly have huge nerves. You clearly know that we are looking for you, yet you dare to send yourself to our doorstep. Actually, the reason why I came to look for you is because I want to send a big present to all of you. Oh, what big present? Send you all to die. Ha, I haven't heard wrong, right? Send us to die. You, a little cultivator in the third level of the profound realm, dares to speak those words to us. After hearing those words, Song Qingfeng, Tang Yishiu, and the others madly laughed as if they heard the funniest joke in the world. Even the females next to them laughed loudly. Their cultivations were also in the profound realm, and they were basically above the third level of the profound realm. In their hearts, they similarly looked down at Chu Feng. Chu Feng, watch this. Without even me attacking you, the beauty in my embrace can easily kill you. Song Qingfeng pointed at the female he was hugging, then said to that female, Beauty, go kill this brat and 900,000 profound beads will be yours. Song Gongzi, is that true? After hearing those words, that female's eyes flashed and she was clearly moved. It was because she had the cultivation of the fourth level of the profound realm, and she had heard that Chu Feng was only in the third level of the profound realm. So if she truly attacked, she would really be completely sure that she could kill Chu Feng. Of course it's true. Song Qingfeng nodded his head. Song Gongzi, we want it as well. Me too, I want it too. After hearing those words, almost all the females on scene were moved. 900,000 profound beads. That number was too attracting, and not a single person could fight against it. That number was already not a small one in front of a peak power, let alone female prostitutes like them. Haha, of course. The 900,000 profound beads will be given to whoever is able to kill him. Song Qingfeng laughed and said. At that instant, all of the females stood up and slowly walked towards Chu Feng. Their bodies were naked, and they were alluringly walking. Charming smiles were even on their mouths as giggling sounds came from them. However, at that moment, in their bones, dense bloodlust permeated throughout. Although those females normally chatted and laughed, when they attacked, they were female demons who were cruel and ruthless. Female devils who didn't blink when they killed. Scram! However, before the group of females neared, Chu Feng's sword-like brows slanted inwards, and he suddenly explosively yelled. A thunder-like voice resonated within the palace. At the same time, formless killing intent also spread from Chu Feng's body, and the group of females were blown back. Chu Feng's killing intent was extremely horrifying, and the females who had originally planned to kill Chu Feng were terrified, and they constantly yelled out in fear. Hurriedly, they leaped with their alluring bodies and hid behind Tang Yishiu and the others. Song Gongzi, how is he in the third level of the profound realm? He is clearly in the fifth level of the profound realm. Not only that, the aura he gave off just now was very scary. I have never felt such an aura before. It was as if it wasn't an aura that humans should have. It seemed more like a bloodthirsty devil. With a single word of scram from Chu Feng, he caused the group of females who revealed killing intents before to tremble in fear, and they lost all their temperament. HMPH, a group of useless things. He is but in the 5th level of the profound realm, yet all of you get scared to this state. Song Qingfeng waved his arm and pushed all the females who stuck onto him to the side. Then after that, looked at Chu Feng and said, "Chu Feng, it's time for new and old debts to be cleared. Speak, how do you want to die today? No matter what, I, Song Qingfeng, can grant you that wish. You want to kill me. Do you have the capabilities?" Chu Feng disdainfully looked at Song Qingfeng, and that gaze showed that he didn't put him in his eyes at all. What an arrogant brat. If I don't show some of my colors to you today, I'm not called Song Qingfeng. Song Qingfeng was furious. He emanated his boundless heaven power, and instantly it engulfed the entire palace. The aura of the 1st level of the heaven realm exploded out with unstoppable might, and the entire palace trembled because of that. Die. After exploding his own aura out, Song Qingfeng did not directly attack. He stood with both of his hands behind his back and stood where he was. With a thought, the heaven power surrounding him was able to be used by him, and it became boundless pressure as it swept towards Chu Feng. Asterisk rumble 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 asterisk. The formless pressure was like a violent storm that could shock the heavens. Layer after layer, they came pressing straight towards him. The power should indeed not be underestimated, at least with Chu Feng's current cultivation. It was impossible for him to defend against it. It had to be said that Song Qingfeng's strength was even a bit stronger than the 2 Jai clan elders in the 1st level of the heaven realm. But Chu Feng, who had prior preparations, was not afraid. Lightning surged within his pupils, and the aura within his body, as well as his own body, started to change enormously. With a mere instant, Chu Feng's aura immediately rose and directly went from the 5th level of the profound realm to the 7th level of the profound realm. Break. After his cultivation was raised, Chu Feng first explosively yelled, then quickly after, abruptly threw out a punch. That punch didn't have too much heaven-shocking might, but it was controlled perfectly, and it contained extremely strong power. With a boom, it dispelled Song Qingfeng's heaven power pressure, and even Song Qingfeng's body swayed. He couldn't help but back 2 steps, and he almost fell onto the ground. How is this brat so strong? At that instant, not to mention Song Qingfeng, even Tang Yishayu, Bai Yunfei, and Liu Xiaoyao, watching the liveliness on the side, tightly frowned, and a hint of shock emerged into their eyes. Putting aside Chu Feng's instant rise in cultivation, even if Chu Feng was in the 7th level of the profound realm, according to reason, he shouldn't be able to break Song Qingfeng's attacking might. After all, Song Qingfeng was in the heaven realm. How could those in the profound realm fight against those in the heaven realm? You have a bit of skill, but let me see if you can still take this next one. Song Qingfeng was truly angry because his attack was broken by Chu Feng, the brat he looked down at. It caused him to feel that he had no face, and he was incomparably furious. Anger of the fire god. This time, he no longer restrained himself, and he used a rank 7 martial skill as an attack. When that martial skill appeared, the entire world shook from its might, and even the palace made by special materials could not bear it. With the violent tremble, countless cracks started to speedily spread, and at the end, with a boom, the palace was shattered by Song Qingfeng's martial skill's might. Within the palace, even the profound realm females were unable to fight against the might, and they were forcibly pushed back and they flew through the air. The ones with light injuries spat out blood, but the ones with heavy injuries had died on scene. What is happening? Heavens, there's people attacking in like drunk or dreaming. Who has such big nerves? Don't they know that the master of this like drunk or dreaming is the mysterious expert? It's Song Qingfeng. It's the #1 disciple of the Fire God School, Song Qingfeng. And also Bai Yunfei, Tang Yishayu, and Liu Xiaoyao. These are the peak geniuses in the 9 provinces young generation, people who has already stepped into the heaven realm at such a young age. No wonder they dare to attack others here. With their statuses and strengths, Even if they break the rules, I'm sure that no one would dare to do anything to them. The ones able to look for pleasure in, like drunk or dreaming, were all big characters of the martial cultivation world. Every single one had exceptional strength. So after hearing that boom, they hurriedly stopped their pleasure-seeking and ran out to see what was happening. That's not right. Look, the person who's fighting Song Qingfeng seems to be a young man. Suddenly, someone discovered that Song Qingfeng's attacking target was a tender young man, and looking at his appearance, he even seemed a bit familiar, as if he was seen before. That young man. Heavens, isn't he the felon who's on the wanted list by the current 6 powers, Chu Feng? My gods, it really is Chu Feng. Why has he ran over to this place? However, when people recognized that the person fighting Song Qingfeng was Chu Feng, all of them were dumbfounded and they were greatly shocked. Who was Chu Feng? Perhaps before the marriage gathering, no one knew, but after the marriage gathering, most likely many people in the continent of the 9 provinces already knew who Chu Feng was. After all, a person who was able to be wanted by the 6 big powers would not be a simple character, let alone a young man only 16 years old. So of course, it was specially attracting. Wasn't it said that Chu Feng stole away the elite armament discovered in the ancient remains, which was discovered by the great powers? Why hasn't he used it yet? Seeing Chu Feng continuously dodging from the attacking might of Song Qingfeng's flames that rose to the sky and didn't return any attacks, some people expressed doubt. Oi, that's not the important part, right? The important part is that Chu Feng's aura is the 7th level of the profound realm. It's completely different from the cultivation stated on the wanted poster. Someone astonishedly yelled, "The 7th level of the profound realm." Even if he's in the 7th level of the profound realm, he shouldn't able to fight back against a heaven realm expert, right? Right now that Chu Feng is fighting against Song Qingfeng, who's in the 1st level of the heaven realm. Heavens, could this mean that Chu Feng is also a monster? He is actually able to rely the cultivation of the 7th level of the profound realm to exchange blows with Song Qingfeng, who's in the 1st level of the heaven realm. That's right. I heard from a person who participated in the marriage gathering say that Chu Feng truly is a monster. He had once fought with Jai Qingming and almost defeated him. Is it true or not, he's that strong? Damn. This means that the 1,000,000 profound beads stated on the wanted poster isn't as easy to earn as one would imagine. But when people discovered that Chu Feng wasn't suppressed by Song Qingfeng when he fought with him, all of them were so shocked they couldn't take care of themselves. Song Qingfeng, your Fire God School's martial skill is only this. I'll let you experience the abilities of me, Chu Feng. Chu Feng had never used his full power. He was only using the bodily martial skill, the Imperial Sky technique, to revolve around Song Qingfeng, and he kept on dodging and defending. But currently, Chu Feng's heart changed, and he was going to attack, because, seeing that there were more and more observers, he wanted to let those people see how he was going to kill off the 4 so-called geniuses. Asterisk swish asterisk suddenly, Chu Feng's footsteps changed, and he no longer backed away. He no longer evaded to the side. He stepped forward and he pressed towards Song Qingfeng, who was at front. One brat, what abilities do you have? If you don't mind, show them. Don't think that I, Song Qingfeng, will be afraid of you. Song Qingfeng coldly snorted, and with a thought, the heaven power that encircled him started to change, and it spun around his body. With a blink, it had actually become lumps of flames, and at the end, it was condensed into a long flame snake, and it headed towards Chu Feng, who heading towards it. This attack is useless to me. Chu Feng did not retreat. Instead, he increased his forwarding speed and thought at the same time, causing the ultimate secret skill, the black tortoise armor technique, to be used. Asterisk boom asterisk, the fire snake attacked head-on, and it opened its big mouth and swallowed Chu Feng. He entered the fierce flames. But how could it be possible for Chu Feng, who had the protection of the black tortoise armor technique, to be injured by flames like those? He stepped greatly forward and ran within the flames. Very quickly, he arrived in front of Song Qingfeng, and quickly after, Chu Feng threw a punch out. The fist that was covered with faint green-colored armor dispersed the flames surrounding Song Qingfeng and fiercely slammed into Song Qingfeng's body. However, Chu Feng's fist clearly struck Song Qingfeng's body, yet he felt a gentle power dissolving his fist's power. The fist that could have originally directly caused Song Qingfeng to be heavily injured had actually only forced him a few steps back. Looking carefully, Chu Feng's pupils suddenly changed because he astonishedly discovered that around Song Qingfeng's body, a layer of radiant armor appeared. It was that thing which stopped Chu Feng's attack. However, that faintly radiant armor was clearly not a martial skill. It seemed more of a body of energy that got automatically released from a special treasure. It's those two bracelets, huh? Chu Feng's spirit power quickly observed, and he discovered that the special radiant armor came from a bracelet on Song Qingfeng's left hand. That bracelet was red-colored, and defense was written on it. On Song Qingfeng's right hand, there was similarly a bracelet like that, and that bracelet had attack on it. Asterisk whoosh 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 asterisk just at that time, 3 bodies flew over and stood by Song Qingfeng's side. It was Bai Yunfei, Tang Yishiu, and Liu Xiaoyao. Song bro, this brat is very strange. You alone will not be able to defeat him. It's still best for us 4 brothers to join hands to take care of him. Liu Xiaoyao said, no need. He is but a brat in the 7th level of the profound realm. I, by myself, can take care of him. Just now I was only careless, so he got some small advantages. Song Qingfeng stubbornly refused. Just leave it. If it wasn't for the man-made elite armament that the Jai clan gifted you, you would have taken quite a bit from that boy's fist just now. But on that topic, it seems like the gifts that the Jai clan gave to our school heads are quite useful. They are even better than what I imagined. Tang Yishiu first looked at Song Qingfeng, then looked at his wrist. At that instant, Chu Feng discovered that on their hands, all of them had 2 special red-colored bracelets, and hearing the words that Tang Yishiu said just now, Chu Feng roughly understood that the special bracelets should be the gifts given by the Jai clan in order to rope their several powers closer to it. Song bro, Liu bro is very correct. This brat is very strange and you cannot tangle with him. Or else, if he runs away later, that wouldn't be good to deal with. Let's finish this off quickly and take this chance to test the might of the man-made elite armament. Didn't Vice Chief Jai say that these bracelets are extremely magical and something about attacking and defense as one, comparable to real elite armaments? We haven't had any chance to try it, so why not use this Chu Feng and test out its might? How about it? Bai Yunfei also said. Sure, let's quickly take care of this brat and not waste time speaking nonsense to him. Song Qingfeng attacked first. This time, the bracelet with the word attack on it had actually changed. A layer of red-colored gas surrounded his body, and his aura instantly rose. No matter if it was speed or power, it was several times stronger than before. Song Qingfeng at that very instant was simply like a human-shaped weapon. Compared to the martial skills he used before, it was several times more terrifying. Even Chu Feng felt extremely huge pressure from his simple punch. However, when Chu Feng, who came to this place in order to challenge himself to see how his current battle power was, faced that situation, he would naturally not shrink away. Similarly, he threw out a punch straight at Song Qingfeng. Asterisk boom asterisk the 2 fists collided and instantly, a boom rang out, causing layers of ripples to sweep by. However, this time, Chu Feng felt his feet slip and quickly after, he was pushed several steps back by a burst of force. At the same time, numbing feeling came from his left hand. Observing in detail, tiny cracks had actually appeared on the faint green-colored armor that covered his left hand. Although the cracks very quickly disappeared, Song Qingfeng's punch still injured him. Chu Feng, even if you have wings today, you will die. And just at that time, Bai Yunfei, Tang Yishiu, and Liu Xiaoyao also released the power of the man-made elite armaments. They did not use any martial skills, and with only their physical bodies, they attacked Chu Feng. Just on time. Chu Feng coldly snorted, and the dragon traveling through 9 heavens was already under his feet. With an azure flash, it disappeared, and when it reappeared, it was behind Bai Yunfei. "Eat my fist." Chu Feng threw out a punch, and as Bai Yunfei was caught off guard, he was struck. However, it was exactly the same as when he punched Song Qingfeng's body before. Chu Feng's power was dissolved by a gentle power, and that power came from the radiant armor. Damn it! Attacking and defense in one. Is it possible that it's a replica of the armor of thorns? At that instant, Chu Feng lightly furrowed his brows because he had to admit that the so-called man-made elite armament that Tang Yishiu and the others used was indeed a bit troubling. As he was taken aback, Chu Feng felt 3 auras nearing. Tang Yishiu and 2 others had already started to attack from behind. However, Chu Feng was not too worried. He urged the Azure Dragon that he was stepping on forward, and after dodging Tang Yishiu and the others' attacks with strange speed, he changed his attacking style and suddenly threw out a palm. Roar at that instant. The roar of a fierce tiger that could shake the mountains and rivers rang out from Chu Feng's palm. At the same time, a huge claw of a white tiger came out and slammed towards Tang Yishiu and the others. Crap! Seeing the white tiger slaughtering technique that was headed straight for them, even if they had elite armaments as protection, and even if their cultivations were in the heaven realm, their faces still changed greatly because within the huge claw of the white tiger, they felt extremely horrifying aura as if the one claw could shatter themselves. At the same time, the 3 of them originally wanted to dodge, but it was useless, as the white tiger slaughtering technique was too powerful. Not only did it have outstanding attacking might, its speed was even faster, and it didn't even give them a chance to escape. Boom, an explosion rang out, and the white tiger slaughtering technique had already fiercely slammed the 3 of them into the ground. The savage power instantly caused a huge pit to appear. "Chu Feng, I will kill you." Seeing his 3 brothers being struck by such a terrifying attack from Chu Feng, Bai Yunfei felt that Tang Yishiu and the 2 others didn't have much luck. So he was incomparably furious and he attacked Chu Feng once again. HMPH. However, Chu Feng only coldly snorted. The Azure Dragon under him flashed, and very easily and casually, he dodged Bai Yunfei's attack. After that, another white tiger slaughtering technique directly slammed into Bai Yunfei, throwing him towards the deep pit where Liu Xiaoyao and the others were. Boom, another white tiger slaughtering technique struck, so another layer of berserk ripple spread, and the deep pit instantly increased quite a bit in size. The nearby palace buildings almost collapsed from such shocking power. Even many observing people were blown dozens of meters back by the might, and some with weak strength even spat out blood from the shock and almost died. Heavens! How is it possible for Chu Feng to use such terrifying might? Even 4 geniuses in the first level of the heaven realm cannot fight against it. It's too scary. The attacking might he used just now was even undoable by some heaven realm experts. The people who personally witnessed Chu Feng's white tiger slaughtering technique all had complicated emotions, and they had tens of thousands of thoughts in their hearts. They were deeply stunned by Chu Feng's strength. At the same time, bursts of strange heat started to be given off from the deep pit. The hate permeated the deep pit and rose into the sky. There was no way of seeing the situation in the pit. In such circumstances, Chu Feng could only use his spirit power to observe the state of the 4 people. However, when Chu Feng saw everything in the deep pit, he couldn't help furrowing his brows, and a hint of shock flashed through his eyes. At that time, 4 bodies suddenly shot out explosively from the deep pit. It was Tang Yishiu, Bai Yunfei, Liu Xiaoyao, and Song Qingfeng. At that instant, the 4 of them more or less suffered some light injuries on their bodies and faces. However, they were only light injuries. Chu Feng's peerless attacking skill, the white tiger slaughtering technique, had actually been unable to kill them. What's this? Even my white tiger slaughtering technique can't harm them. Chu Feng was very puzzled. That's very normal. They are in the heaven realm, and the degree of strength of their physical bodies are far from being comparable to the profound realm. Although you can use the dragon traveling through 9 heavens to dodge their attacks, and use the black tortoise armor technique to block their attacks, it will be very hard for the offensive methods you grasp to kill them off. Besides, putting aside the strength of their physical bodies, the 4 of them even have elite armament replicas right now. In this situation, no matter how much stronger your white tiger slaughtering technique is, it will be very difficult to kill them. After all, you haven't completely grasped the secret skill, the white tiger slaughtering technique. Just at that time, Eggy detailedly analyzed. No, I do not believe that I cannot break open their imitative elite armaments, nor be unable to destroy their heaven realm bodies. However, Chu Feng did not believe in that. He who had absolute confidence in his white tiger slaughtering technique used it once again, but this time it was the same as last time. Tang Yishiu and the others did not dodge, and they were struck head-on by Chu Feng's white tiger slaughtering technique. However, the result was the same as last time. The 4 of them only received some light injuries, and to heaven realm cultivators, light injuries to that degree were simply not significant at all. Haha, what you just used should be the secret skill Vice Chief Jai talked about, right? It is truly not simple. But sadly, when this secret skill is in your hands, its might it should have can't be displayed, and it is simply a waste for it to be yours. After successfully defending against Chu Feng's attack, Song Ching Feng and the others had actually started to mock Chu Feng. They already heard about Chu Feng from Jai Yan earlier, and knew that Chu Feng grasped a secret skill heard in the legends. But at first, they only half believed and half doubted. After all, secret skills were truly only in legends, and in the current continent of the 9 provinces, no one grasped it. But at that instant, they believed it because when Chu Feng used the white tiger slaughtering technique, they really did feel unprecedented might. That might didn't come from Chu Feng. It came from the secret skill's Tiger's Claw. It was might that was unique to secret skills. That situation was something they never felt before, so they were sure that it was the legendary secret skill. Ho! The heaven realm is truly a wonderful realm. It is indeed completely different from the profound realm, origin realm, and spirit realm. Suddenly, Chu Feng smiled relievedly. After retrying the white tiger slaughtering technique, yet it was still useless, Chu Feng didn't continue trying. He opened his right hand and said to the 4, "Since your bodies are so strong, why not try my Ashura ghost axe?" After speaking, light flashed in Chu Feng's palm, and a black-colored huge axe that was 2 meters long appeared. After the Ashura ghost axe appeared, Chu Feng's entire atmosphere was completely different. He was covered by layers of black-colored gas, and it was as if he combined into one with the Ashura ghost axe. The Ashura ghost axe, that's the elite armament on the wanted posters which was discovered by the 6 big powers in the ancient remains. Seeing the Ashura ghost axe, everyone on scene were astonished, especially Tang Yishiu and the others. They tightly furrowed their brows and fearful looks flashed into their eyes because, from the Ashura ghost axe, they felt the aura of fatality. They firmly believed that the axe was even scarier than Chu Feng's white tiger slaughtering technique. If they were cut themselves, they would definitely not have much luck, and they would undoubtedly die. My brothers, the methods that this brat Chu Feng grasp are really too strange. His Ashura ghost axe cannot be underestimated. We cannot be careless anymore. We need to take out the hidden trump card Vice Chief Jai gave us, or else we will very possibly die here today. Suddenly, Liu Xiaoyao sent mental messages to the 3 others. As he spoke, he flipped his palm and a blood-colored medicinal pellet appeared. Looking at its special shape, it was a forbidden medicine. That forbidden medicine was different from others. It was actually wiggling, and as it wiggled, it even kept on making horrifying yells, as if it was something alive. And after taking out the forbidden medicine, Liu Xiaoyao unhesitantly swallowed it. At that instant, his aura suddenly rose speedily, and from the 1st level of the heaven realm, he stepped into the 2nd level of the heaven realm. God damn, We are actually forced by this brat to this state and need to use this taboo medicine." Chu Feng and the others looked at the forbidden medicine on their hands. They couldn't help but gulp, and there was some fear on their faces. However, even though they were more unwilling to, in that situation, they also didn't hesitate, and one after the other, they all took the forbidden medicine. After the forbidden medicine entered them, like Liu Xiaoyao, their auras extremely quickly rose, and very soon, they climbed into the second level of the heaven realm. Also, blood-colored gas was like wiggling little snakes as they coiled around their bodies and swirled. Even their hair started to vibrate and their clothes started to flutter. Everyone, look, what did they just eat? Was it forbidden medicine? What kind of forbidden medicine is able to cause even their strength, which is in the heaven realm, to greatly increase? The observers who personally saw everything all yelled out in surprise, and they felt it was hard to believe, because even though forbidden medicine was strong, there was a limit, and it was best for profound realm experts to use them. And even though heaven realm experts could get some effects, it would absolutely not cause their cultivation to rise greatly, to even break through a level. Right now, Liu Xiaoyao's and the others' auras violently rose, and that was clearly not normal. Forbidden medicine like those should only be able to be created by a purple cloak world spiritist, and right now, your continent of the 9 provinces shouldn't have any purple cloak world spiritists. Even if there is, only the Jiang dynasty would have one. So, the forbidden medicine the 4 of them consumed can be counted as priceless treasures. It seems like they are truly going to stake it all against you, Eggy said. HMPH, the second level of the heaven realm, that's fine. If they are too weak, I won't have any feeling of accomplishment. Chu Feng lightly smiled, then quickly after, he suddenly waved his big axe. With a swish, a half-moon-shaped black-colored blade of light flew out and fiercely rushed towards Liu Xiaoyao and the others. Careful! The speed of the black-colored blade of light was very quick, but Liu Xiaoyao and the others who had elite armaments and the cultivation of the second level of the heaven realm successfully dodged. Asterisk boom, asterisk, the blade of light missed, and it exploded towards a distant palace. Instantly, a berserk ripple spread, and the buildings on the road were all destroyed by the black-colored blade of light. I heard that his elite armament is able to recognize its master. It seems like its might is indeed quite a bit stronger than Murong Yu's divine wood sword. Brothers, right now there is no retreat. We need to throw everything we have towards this little bastard and let him know the power of us 4 brothers. Liu Xiaoyao explosively yelled, and immediately after, his body flashed and he became a blur of blood red and flew first towards Chu Feng. You've come at just the right time. Chu Feng continuously waved the axe in his hand, and the black-colored crescent moon blades of light filled the air and flew, but it could do nothing towards Liu Xiaoyao, who had used the forbidden medicine. Not only did his strength rise, even his speed multiplied, and Chu Feng's black-colored blades of light had actually all been dodged by him. Very soon, he arrived in front of Chu Feng. In that situation, even Chu Feng's face couldn't help but change, and he hurriedly urged the Azure Dragon under him to move quicker and dodge to the side. Damn it! It is clearly only 2 levels of cultivation difference from that day when I escaped the prestigious villa. Yet there's a huge difference of the Asura ghost axe's might in my hand. It seems like even if this thing recognizes me as the master and becomes one with me, there is an inseparable relationship between my cultivation and wanting to use its full power. At that very instant, although there was no need to doubt the power of the Asura ghost axe, he could do nothing about its speed slowing. Facing Liu Xiaoyao, who used forbidden medicine and also had an elite armament, Chu Feng's Asura ghost axe could truly not do anything to him. Chu Feng, the might of your Asura ghost axe is strong enough, but sadly, it isn't useful when used by your hands. It is still best to give it to us so we can take care of it for you. At the same time, Chu Feng and the 2 others also surrounded Chu Feng and attacked. Seeing that, azure light flashed under his feet, and he hurriedly dodged. When they were in the first level of the heaven realm, They were already able to cause Chu Feng's black tortoise armor technique to crack. Right now, they had stepped into the second level of the heaven realm so definitely. They were able to break open Chu Feng's black tortoise armor technique and perhaps even kill him. In times like these, forcefully fighting against them would simply be idiotic actions. But luckily, Chu Feng grasped the dragon traveling through 9 heavens, the profound martial skill that infinitely neared a rank 9 martial skill. So he had an absolute advantage in terms of speed. Even if he was not able to defeat them head-on, no one could be compared to his speed of escape. Also, the truth was like that as well. No matter how much quicker Liu Xiaoyao and the others got, they were still unable to match Chu Feng. Even Jai Yan, who was in the 5th level of the heaven realm, would be unable to catch Chu Feng, let alone them. Chu Feng, are you a monkey? You only know how to escape. Don't you grasp a secret skill? Don't you have an elite armament? Aren't you going to send us to our deaths? Try and fight us head-on. Song Qingfeng and the others loudly insulted. 4 bastards. Can't defeat me, so you take forbidden medicine. Don't you have any shame? People in the 1st level of the heaven realm can't defeat me. Who's in the 7th level of the profound realm? Do you have any face? As Chu Feng ran, he insulted back. It was called being relaxed. It was called being at ease. Chu Feng could use the dragon traveling through 9 heavens to move quickly for several days and nights, and he would be completely fine. It was simply Chu Feng's most convenient and quickest transportation tool. If he used the dragon traveling through 9 heavens to circle around Liu Xiaoyao and the others, he could certainly exhaust them to death. After all, not everyone had endless profound power in their dantians like Chu Feng to infinitely support his martial skill, but Liu Xiaoyao and the others couldn't do it. They used forbidden medicine, and only because of that were they able to chase after Chu Feng. If the power of the forbidden medicine disappeared and the power of the rebound came, not to mention exchanging blows with Chu Feng, it was likely that they couldn't even stand stably. They would be like fishes on a cutting board, and they would be able to do nothing but let Chu Feng butcher them. God damn, this brat is doing this intentionally. He is waiting for us to exhaust the power of our forbidden medicine, then attack us after that. We cannot continue letting him burn us up like this, or we will die. Quickly run. We need to leave this place. Finally, Liu Xiaoyao was the first to respond to that as he hiddenly sent mental messages to the 3 others. God, this damn bastard. He is this despicable. And after hearing Liu Xiaoyao's mental message, Song Qingfeng and the others also came to a realization, so without speaking more, they turned around and escaped into the distance. Want to escape? HMPH. Can you? Seeing that, Chu Feng coldly snorted, and while riding on the Azure Dragon, he chased after the 4 people. Why are they running? Is it possible that the 4 geniuses cannot defeat Chu Feng even after taking forbidden medicine? When they saw that scene, everyone who was observing were greatly confused. But sadly, not a person on scene was in the heaven realm, so they could only watch as they saw Chu Feng and the others leave. They had no way of chasing, so it caused many people to sigh and shake their heads, expressing misfortune. God damn, don't follow us. At that very instant, Liu Xiaoyao and the others had already flew away from like drunk or dreaming, but it was in vain as Chu Feng kept on closely following them. No matter how they turned directions, they could not get rid of Chu Feng because when comparing speed, Chu Feng was originally quicker than them. So how could they escape from him? Haha, you bastards, don't run. See how your grandfather here will take care of you. Chu Feng loudly laughed, and as he swayed by the 4 people's sides, he insulted them and even shamelessly pulled faces and made despicable finger gestures. Chu Feng, you better not get into my hands, or else I will definitely make you wish to live yet can't, and wish to die yet can't. Song Qingfeng and the others gnashed their teeth in anger caused by Chu Feng, because they knew what intentions he had by following them. Clearly, he wanted to wait until their medicinal powers faded, and then attack them when they received the rebounds. In a situation like that, the 4 also threw attacks at Chu Feng while still moving, but they were all useless and they could not catch Chu Feng. Chu Feng had also thought of using the might of the Asura ghost axe, as well as his absolute speed to attack them, while they were caught off guard to directly kill them like that. However, it was useless, as even though the speed of the dragon traveling through 9 heavens was fast, he could not control it as well as the imperial sky technique. It was fine if he was escaping or chasing, but fighting close quarters was clearly not as easy. So it was very difficult to use the elite armament to attack, and at the end, he concluded with failure. Like that, Chu Feng and Liu Xiaoyao and the others acted like so. For a while, you chase me, I run. For a while, I chase you, you run. Like so, they repeated that over and over again for a full hour. Finally, Liu Xiaoyao bit his teeth, then sent mental messages to the other 3. It won't do if this continues, and the 4 of us will die from this Chu Feng. Split up and escape. At least that way 3 people can continue living. After speaking, Liu Xiaoyao turned, and he took off first to escape towards another direction. Bai Yunfei and Tang Yishiu also quickly followed and escaped towards other directions. Crap! And because the other's speed was too quick, when Song Qingfeng responded to the situation, the 3 had already left for quite some distance. Then when Song Qingfeng turned his head around, he helplessly discovered that Chu Feng was still following himself. That caused him to be incomparably furious. He almost went mad as he roared, "God damn, they've already ran away. Why aren't you chasing after them? Why do you have to keep on following me? Because, you bastard, you were the one who cursed the fiercest. Don't worry. Today, your grandfather, I will kill you first. One day your 3 other bastard brothers will follow you down." Chu Feng laughed and said, but within his eyes, looks of killing intent surged. "Damn, if you have the guts, don't escape and fight me head-on." Song Qingfeng angrily howled. No, you're the grandson, I'm the grandfather. Fighting you would be bullying you." Chu Feng shook his head. "God damn, if you can, stand still and don't run." Song Qingfeng insanely threw attacks at Chu Feng as he was in midair. "Kamehameha. Good grandson, come chase your grandfather. Chase your grandfather's overwhelming back. Quickly chase and come." As Chu Feng rode on the Azure Dragon and flew in the air, he patted his buttocks, angering Song Qingfeng. "Damn it, stop following me. God damn, stop following me." Song Qingfeng no longer chased after Chu Feng. He switched direction and escaped with extreme speed, but it was useless as Chu Feng very quickly caught up and he could not get rid of him. "Bastard grandson, be obedient. Your grandfather is afraid that you will meet bad people, so I'm here to protect you." Chu Feng smiled and said, "Go die. In my entire life, it is the first time that I, Song Qingfeng, have seen a person as shameless as you. No, you're not a person. You are a shameless little animal. That's right, continue cursing, curse louder. See how your grandfather will take care of you." Chu Feng, damn your ancestor. "Very well, I'll remember that. I'll give you a lesson in place of your ancestor." Finally, after a while of talking, Song Qingfeng's medicinal power faded away, and the power of the rebound started to consume his physical body. Very quickly, he was unable to hold on and he fell from the air. "Chu Feng, I beg you, kill me. Kill me, I beg you." After landing on the ground, Song Qingfeng started to fully suffer from the torment of the forbidden medicine's rebound. With a mere blink, he became as thin and weak as a match. Both of his eyes collapsed inwards and he looked the same as an alive corpse. It was terrifying. Looking at his appearance, he was clearly enduring torture that was even more painful than Chu Feng's that day. Song Qingfeng could not bear such torture, and he had actually begged Chu Feng to kill him. "Eggy, what's happening? Why am I feeling his life force in his body disappearing right now?" Looking at Song Qingfeng with that appearance, Chu Feng felt that he had no need to attack, because the torment of the rebound clearly caused more pain for Song Qingfeng than him attacking. The stronger the power the forbidden medicine brings, the price paid will be heavier as well. This is the consequence for touching upon forbidden power. Perhaps without you doing anything, he will be tortured to death by his forbidden medicine because his willpower is too weak. Eggy explained. Forbidden power. I wonder how that Yan Ruyu is doing now. After hearing the word forbidden, Chu Feng couldn't help but think back at Yan Ruyu. After all, what that girl cultivated was a forbidden mysterious technique. At first, even her outer appearance changed, and that power was comparable to divine bodies. Chu Feng, I'm begging you, kill me, kill me. Just at that time, Song Qingfeng pleaded towards Chu Feng again. His tone became extremely petty, and his pleading came from his heart. And seeing Song Qingfeng, whose face turned deathly white, his appearance no longer seemed human, and his heart only wished to die because of the torment of the forbidden medicine. Rare kindness rose from Chu Feng's heart. He walked to Song Qingfeng's front and said in a low voice, "Since it is like so, I'll grant you that wish. Remember, be a good person in your next life." After speaking, Chu Feng put his hand on Song Qingfeng's head. Tilde. At that instant, Song Qingfeng made another heart-tearing and lung-splitting scream because Chu Feng was currently absorbing Song Qingfeng's source energy. He was stripping away his life. Finally, Song Qingfeng stopped screaming, and at the same time, his heart stopped beating and he thoroughly died. How about it, Eggy? Has your cultivation been raised? Chu Feng impatiently asked after helping Eggy absorb Song Qingfeng's source energy, because he was in a rush when escaping from the prestigious villa that day. After killing the two Jai clan Heaven Realm experts, Chu Feng did not pick up their corpses to absorb their source energies. Because of that, Eggy quite often complained to Chu Feng. Even though Chu Feng knew that Eggy wasn't truly blaming himself and she was mostly joking, Chu Feng still felt sorry. This time it counted as making up for Eggy. Not bad. I broke through a level, so there's only one level between you and me. Right now, I'm in the 4th level of the profound realm. Tilde. Eggy sweetly smiled, and her smile was very satisfied. But Chu Feng knew that the girl did that intentionally. She was afraid that Chu Feng had burdens in his heart, so she pretended to be so content. Chu Feng was very uncomfortable in his heart, even though he did not know how powerful Eggy was at first. He could imagine how extremely impatient an extremely powerful person might feel when they wanted to recover their original strength after losing their power. I'll wait for a bit more in the Qin province. If Ling still doesn't come and find me, I'll leave this place and find some evil tombs. With that, not only can my own cultivation rise, Eggy, yours can become stronger as well. Suddenly, Chu Feng spoke. Things like evil tombs can only be met by chance and not found. However, some places will definitely have some. Eggy giggled and said, "What places?" Chu Feng quickly asked. "Most of the ancestors of some peak powers, powers that have been existing for a lot time, are existences with powerful and deep cultivations. As the later generation, they are very respectful toward those ancestors, so they would usually generously bury them, and they would also send experts to guard them. Not only are the remains in tombs such as those complete, many people even put large amounts of treasures to accompany the burial because it is a way to cherish the dead. It is a type of respect to the dead. And I feel that other than emperor tombs in the continent of the 9 provinces, the largest tomb should be the Jiang dynasty's tomb. But the Jiang dynasty is unfathomably deep, and you also have no grievances nor hatred with them. So if you anger them with your current cultivation, it would simply be looking for your own path of death. Thus, I don't recommend that. Besides, tombs like those are mostly used by the later generation to respect their ancestors. They are completely different from the evil tombs and remains in the wild. If you go open the ancestor tombs of others for no reason, it is the same as digging up their ancestor's grave. Doing that is never too virtuous, and I believe with your character, you may not be willing to do these kinds of things. However, some powers can be exceptions. Eggy giggled and said, but she didn't make things completely clear. What you mean are the Fire God School, Iwangang School, Sword God Valley, Hidden White Sect, Free and Unrestrained Valley, and the Jai clan, which are currently listing me as wanted. But how intelligent was Chu Feng? He had already understood the intentions that Eggy indicated. For now, leave the Jai clan. Putting aside that they have an old monster who is training in seclusion, you can't even defeat that Jai Xingpeng. But you can try out the Fire God School, Iwangang School, Sword God Valley, Hidden White Sect, and Free and Unrestrained Valley. Eggy said, "Fine. After a bit more time, if Ling still doesn't come to find me, I'll leave this place to visit the ancient tombs of the Fire God School, Iwangang School, Sword God Valley, and Hidden White Sect. HMPH, since they join up to list me as wanted, want to take away my elite armament and want me dead, I'll go kill their young generation and dig their ancestors' tombs." Chu Feng made a firm decision. After a few more days, if Ling still didn't come to find himself, he would take revenge on the powers that listed him as wanted in the entire continent of the 9 provinces. Afterwards, Chu Feng cleanly looted Song Qingfeng's Cosmos sack, and he discovered that the #1 disciple of the Fire God School truly had quite some inventory on him. He actually had 37,500 profound beads on him. Even when the head of the Fire God School came out, he would not have possibly brought so many profound beads on him. Certainly, the reason why Song Qingfeng brought so many profound beads was for playing around unrestrainedly. After all, in a land of romance such as like drunk or dreaming, it was not something normal people could afford to spend, especially when the females Song Qingfeng and the others looked for were even the ones with extremely high cultivation. From what he heard in that place, females with comparatively higher cultivation were more expensive. Perhaps only people like Song Qingfeng and the others could find females with that level of cultivation. However, to the current Chu Feng, the 37,500 profound beads were not really anything. Even if he was just a tiny bit away from the 6th level of the profound realm, the 37,500 profound beads were not enough for Chu Feng to break through. So Chu Feng did not refine them. He stored them just in case he needed them. Other than the 37,500 profound beads, there were even 10 low-quality heaven medicine. Those heaven medicine were a lot more valuable, and their medicinal power was stronger as well. After all, what was contained within them was heaven power, which was far above profound power. However, because they were too few of them and they wouldn't have much use, Chu Feng similarly didn't refine them, and he also stored them. Other than the heaven medicine, there were also some scrap items. To Chu Feng, those things were all not too useful, but it had to be said that the 2 bracelets on Song Qingfeng's wrist were indeed treasures. Chu Feng took them off to study them for a while. He felt that they were very possibly elite armament replicas that the Jai clan created according to the armor of thorns. Although their might was very strong, they were clearly inferior to real elite armaments. Also, they required at least the heaven realm in order for their uses to be displayed. If it was the profound realm, there was no way of using them. But even so, it still counted as a treasure. To the heaven realm, those things had great uses, so Chu Feng felt that even if he himself could not use it, the 2 bracelets would certainly be able to be sold for quite a nice price. After finding no small number of good things on Song Qingfeng's body, Chu Feng turned around and searched for a while. He went over mountains, trekked through water, and wanted to find Bai Yunfei, Liu Xiaoyao, and Tang Yi Xiao. After all, the 3 of them also used forbidden medicine, and right now, they should be receiving the rebound. If Chu Feng found them, the 3 of them would also doubtlessly die, and the treasures on their bodies would also belong to Chu Feng. But it was useless, as Chu Feng could not find any traces of them. It was as if they disappeared, so at the end, he could only give up. Later on, Chu Feng hung Song Qingfeng's corpse onto a large tree. Also on the tree, he engraved 4 big words. It was, "Killed by Chu Feng." Chu Feng wanted to let the world know, wanted to let everyone know, that he killed the #1 disciple of the Fire God School, Song Qingfeng. It was the price for the Fire God School listing him as wanted. Indeed, in less than a few days after Chu Feng killed Song Qingfeng, his corpse was discovered by someone, and that news also quickly spread. It first shocked the Qin province. Then quickly after, the nearby several provinces also knew about it. However, there was one thing that caused Chu Feng to feel uneasy, and it was unknown whether it was a good thing or bad thing. It was that on that day, he clearly only killed Song Qingfeng and hung his corpse on that big tree. But later on, he heard that it was not only Song Qingfeng, Lai Xiaoyao, Bai Yunfei, and Tang Yishayu. The 4 people that were chased by Chu Feng and escaped all died. And also, all of them were hung on that big tree, and they all died because of source energy absorption. So the rumors went like so. Chu Feng, who was currently listed as wanted by 6 big powers, went alike drunk or dreaming and fought the 4 geniuses Tang Yishayu, Bai Yunfei, Liu Xiaoyao, and Song Qingfeng. The 4 geniuses were unable to defeat him, so they used special forbidden medicine, yet they were still unable to defeat him. As they were helpless, the 4 geniuses could only escape like drunk or dreaming, but ultimately, they were unable to escape from Chu Feng's demonic hands, and all of them died miserably. When that news spread, it was undoubtedly explosive. It was undoubtedly shocking. It undoubtedly stunned the 9 provinces. After all, the ones who died were the #1 disciples of 4 big powers. They were named as peak geniuses in the young generation. Geniuses like them were all killed by a young man called Chu Feng. So, how strong was Chu Feng? How scary? That caused many people to guess vaguely, and it became the most common topic in people's spare times. Some people felt that Chu Feng was too impressive and was an outstanding genius. Some people also felt that Chu Feng was too terrifying. A person like that had to be removed, or else if they developed in the future, they would certainly become a bloodthirsty devil, very possibly causing all living things in the continent of the 9 provinces to turn into dust. But no matter how people guessed outside, Chu Feng knew that on that day, he only killed Song Qingfeng. The 3 others were absolutely not killed by him, so he was guessing. Who killed the 3 others, and was that person an enemy or a friend? Very quickly, the news regarding Chu Feng killing Song Qingfeng, Liu Xiaoyao, Bai Yunfei, and Tang Yishayu completely spread, and almost everyone knew about that. But after knowing, the ones who were most shocked were none other than the 4 powers. The Fire God School, the Free and Unrestrained Valley, the Hidden White Sect, and the Iwangang School. Currently, they put up wanted posters for Chu Feng, but not only did they not catch him, their #1 disciples even got killed by Chu Feng. To them, it was simply a huge humiliation. Besides, Song Qingfeng and the others were disciples that their 4 powers very carefully developed for many years. Originally, they had heavy expectations for them, as they even planned to rely on them to lift up the banner of their schools to become the new masters. But now they were killed, and they were even killed by the same person. How could the heads of the several powers accept that? How could they endure it? How could they bear it? On that day, after the 4 huge characters, the head of the Iwangang School, the head of the Fire God School, the head of the Free and Unrestrained Valley, and the head of the Hidden White Sect, parted from the prestigious villa. They gathered together once again, and the place that they gathered at this time was the Free and Unrestrained Valley. Are we truly going to invite that 100-faced old man to come? The head of the Iwangang School asked. I also feel that it is not appropriate. We are the overlords of parts of the 9 provinces. Right now, to chase after and kill a single person, we need to degrade ourselves to ask for a killer. If this gets known, we will become laughingstocks. The head of the Hidden White Sect said, right now, we have already become the laughingstocks that people discuss about. The wanted poster says Chu Feng is in the 3rd level of the profound realm, but the strength he showed was the 7th level of the profound realm. He also killed our 4 disciples that we had developed for many years. We truly have no more face. The head of the Fire God School sighed. Face is small. It's the lives of the 4 children that can't be wasted for nothing. Although Xiaoyao isn't blood-related to me, I have seen and treated him as my own son. Right now, he has died so wretchedly. How can I only watch and do nothing? Although it will indeed not be too great if the news of asking for the 100-faced old man gets known, who will know that it is us who asked for him. As the #1 assassin, will the 100-faced old man not be moved by our wanted posters rewarding 1,000,000 profound beads? So even if we ask for him, from the perspectives of outsiders, they will only feel that the 100-faced old man is unable to resist against the temptation of the reward and came out himself. Besides, this 100-faced old man does indeed have some methods that normal people do not have. He is a blue cloak world spiritist, and he's even an expert in the 3rd level of the heaven realm. The most important thing is that his methods for tracking people is peerless in the world. There are only people he doesn't want to find, and none that he cannot. Right now, as we wish to kill Chu Feng, we can only ask for him. The head of the free and unrestrained valley said, "That is correct, but his request is for us to pay 500,000 profound beads first, then he would catch Chu Feng alive. Isn't this price a bit high? If he grabs the money but doesn't do the deed, what should we do? Wouldn't we get swindled again?" The head of the Azure Dragon School worriedly said, "Yeah, originally, the sum of the reward for the wanted posters was paid together by 6 powers. But right now, the 4 of us joins hands to ask for the 100-faced old man, and he wants us to pay 500,000 profound beads in advance. However, we 4 powers need to tackle that sum. This is really not too safe." The head of the hidden white sect also felt that it wasn't too appropriate. The 100-faced old man is ranked as #1 on the assassin leaderboard, not only because no person who he wants to be killed remains living. It is also because he has an extremely good reputation. He only takes the reward. Other than the reward, he never takes any part that doesn't belong to him. Besides, those who died right now are 4 children who we carefully developed. They have already died, yet you are still quibbling about some profound beads. Are these 4 children's lives not worth 100,000 profound beads? If any of you feel that this matter is not appropriate, you can back out. My free and unrestrained is willing to handle these 500 profound beads alone. The head of the free and unrestrained valley was a bit angry. The head of the Azure Dragon School and the head of the hidden white sect both looked at each other, being a bit speechless. My Fire God School is willing to put out money to ask for the 100-faced old man. The head of the Fire God School spoke. "A free and unstrained valley head. 500,000 profound beads isn't a small number. If your valley takes all that by itself, its financial power will certainly be greatly damaged, and its vitality will be heavily injured. Let us 4 powers take it together." The head of the Azure Dragon School smiled and said after thinking for a while, "Yeah, it's best for us to tackle the price together. We also want to avenge our child. Besides, we must get that Asura ghost axe." The head of the hidden white sect also smiled. "Since it is like so, this matter has been set. I'll contact the 100-faced old man right now." As the head of the free and unrestrained valley spoke, he took out a special birdcage from the palace. Within the birdcage, there was a strange bird that was roughly the same size as an owl. The reason why it was called strange was because that bird had 6 wings. The price of a bird like that was extremely expensive. Only big peak powers could afford to breed them, and they were a type of tool for sending messages. Their speed was like light and almost no one could be comparable. So they had a name. They were called delivery birds. However, that delivery bird was not bred by the head of the free and unrestrained valley. It was given by the 100-faced old man. To be more precise, them asking the 100-faced old man to kill Chu Feng was, in reality, the 100-faced old man recommending himself. "Everyone, I'm sure that you've all prepared the profound beads." The head of the free and unrestrained valley took out a cosmos sack, and within it, there was already 125,000 profound beads. He prepared it beforehand. Seeing that, the other few also took out the profound beads that they brought and put them in the cosmos sack. After confirming that there were 500 profound beads in the cosmos sack, the head of the free and unrestrained valley tied the cosmos sack on the leg of the delivery bird. "Free and unrestrained valley head, Are you certain that it's the 100-faced old man's delivery bird and it isn't someone borrowing it to trick us?" Seeing that, the head of the Iwangang school worriedly asked, "Honestly speaking, my free and unrestrained valley has done many trades before with the 100-faced old man, so I am very familiar with his delivery bird. This is the delivery bird that only he has, I am sure without a doubt." As the head of the free and unrestrained valley spoke, he waved his big hand and the delivery bird rose into the sky. With a streak of light flashing away, the delivery bird disappeared and not a trace of aura remained. Chu Feng still remained within the borders of the Qin province. With a blink, several more days had passed, yet Ziling still hadn't come to find Chu Feng. And Chu Feng was also not in leisure in these few days. He killed countless disciples and elders from the 6 big powers, and within them, there was even one heaven realm elder. Although the elder was also in the first level of the heaven realm, Chu Feng didn't exhaust that much strength to kill him when compared to killing Song Qingfeng and the others. So Chu Feng ended up with a conclusion. When his strength was in the 7th level of the profound realm, there was absolutely no problem killing a normal person in the 1st level of the heaven realm. As for the 2nd level of the heaven realm, as long as that person wasn't too powerful, he could still fight. But if it was the 3rd level of the heaven realm, it was likely that he could only run. But that wasn't the important part. The important part was that, as Chu Feng was slaughtering the people from the 6 big powers, he also plundered quite a few resources. Also, in that period of time, Chu Feng even participated in an underground exchange in the Qin province. The so-called underground exchange was a place where many big powers of the Qin province and experts from everywhere came to trade things. Many of those things very possibly came from dark places, but they were all priceless treasures. They were also the so-called black goods, so that was why it was named as the Underground Exchange. In the Underground Exchange, Chu Feng sold the pair of man-made elite armaments that Jai Yan gifted to Song Qingfeng. He got 50,000 profound beads from trading, so from that it could be seen despite being only an imitation, the man-made elite armament was also priceless. Yet the Jai clan had actually gave things like those, all at once, to the 4 powers. It could be seen that they were indeed roping those 4 powers with them. To be precise, it was 5 powers. After all, the current Sword God Valley also stood on the same boat as the Jai clan. However, Chu Feng did not care about how the Jai clan got closer to the 5 powers. What he was joyful for was that the elite armament sold for high prices. And in addition to the profound beads plundered from Song Qingfeng before, Chu Feng finally surpassed that tiny bit and successfully broke into the 6th level of the profound realm. Only after using roughly 1,115,000 profound beads did Chu Feng go from the 3rd level of the profound realm to the 6th level of the profound realm. Also, his current dantian was completely empty. It was like a bottomless hole, waiting for Chu Feng to find resources to fill it up. Chu Feng knew that even though he was only 1 step away from the 7th level of the profound realm, that step was extremely difficult. The amount of resources required was extremely horrifying. It would be several times 1,000,000 profound beads. On that day, Chu Feng just killed another batch of Iwangang school disciples and hung their corpses on trees. Also, after leaving the 4 big words, "killed by Chu Feng," he put on a conical hat, entered a city, and prepared to rest for a while and eat a meal. Even though the present Chu Feng was listed as wanted by 6 big powers, and was a criminal that everyone wanted to kill, Chu Feng was not afraid. Instead, he even wanted to meet people from the 6 big powers. As long as they had strength that was inferior to Chu Feng, he would kill them all. If their strengths were too strong, Chu Feng could ride on the dragon traveling through 9 heavens to immediately escape. The problem was that up until now, Chu Feng hadn't met anyone who could cause him to feel fear from the 6 big powers. "Oi, what did you say?" Another batch of disciples and elders died from the Iwangang school, and the sub-school they created in the Qin province was completely destroyed by him. I heard that Chu Feng is simply a butcher. He is simply a devil. The 6 big powers have quite bad luck to have angered him. Ah, if even the 6 big powers can't do anything to him, wouldn't Chu Feng have powers that could go against the heavens when he continues to develop in the future? If this goes on, he will become the second Azure Dragon founder. On that topic, I heard that Chu Feng came from the Azure province. Didn't the Azure Dragon founder also come from the Azure province? Why has the Azure province produced a monster within monsters? Yeah, the Azure province has stayed in dormant for several hundred years. I heard that in these several hundred years within the borders of the Azure province, not even a single heaven realm expert has appeared. But right now, a terrifying monster like Chu Feng shows up. Not only Chu Feng, isn't there also someone called Zhang Tianyi? That Zhang Tianyi seems to be even more powerful than Chu Feng. A long time ago, he had already defeated Song Qingfeng, Liu Xiaoyao, Bai Yunfei, and Tang Yi Xiao. No, from what I see, Chu Feng is still the stronger one. Although Zhang Tianyi defeated the 4, Chu Feng killed the 4. Also, Zhang Tianyi at that time had the exact same cultivation as Song Qingfeng and the others, and his age was very similar to theirs as well. But Chu Feng is different. With the 7th level of the Profound Realm, he defeated people in the 1st level of the Heaven Realm. He is even a young man. He is truly defying common sense. Why does it matter who is stronger? Both of them came from the Azure province after all. But it must be said that the Azure province truly shocks people surprisingly. After being dormant for several hundred years, 2 terrifying monsters appeared. They are fated to cause the continent of the 9 provinces to go into chaos. Within a tavern, as people ate, their mouths weren't doing nothing, and with excitement that shot everywhere, they discussed things about Chu Feng. Chu Feng sat within the tavern. As he drank wine and ate meat, he listened to others talking about his story and guessing his cultivation. It was quite an interesting thing. In reality, in the periods of time recently, Chu Feng had already gotten used to days like these because no matter where, as long as it was a place with many people, the topic that people discussed the most was related to Chu Feng. HMPH. Chu Feng is not far from death now. Just at that time, a tall male walked in, and as he spoke, he slammed a wanted poster onto the table. Brother, why so? Could it be that the heads of the 6 big powers have come out? After hearing those words, someone curiously asked within the tavern, the heads of the 6 big powers. A person even fiercer than them has come. Look at this, everyone. The tall male pointed at the wanted poster on his table. Heavens, this is. And after people curiously walked over and saw the contents on the wanted poster, not a single person wasn't greatly shocked, because it wasn't a wanted poster but an assassination poster. It's the 100-faced old man, the 100-faced old man, titled as the #1 assassin in the continent of the 9 provinces. He has finally come out for Chu Feng. This is quite bad for Chu Feng. I heard that this 100-faced old man is extremely powerful. Not a single person he wishes to kill can return alive. They astonishedly said, of course, the wanted posters of the 6 big powers aren't much. But as long as the 100-faced old man's assassination poster comes out, Chu Feng is not far from death. I believe that very quickly, news of Chu Feng being killed by the 100-faced old man will come. The tall male confidently said, 100-faced old man. After hearing people's discussion, Chu Feng only lightly smiled and didn't put it in his heart. Other than Jai Xingpeng, within the 5 remaining powers, almost no one could cause Chu Feng to feel fear, because no one was able to catch him. Even if they were the heads of the 5 big powers, it was useless, let alone the 100-faced old man who had an occupation of an assassin. Shoo. Damn beggar scram, don't affect our tavern's business. My lord, can you be charitable and spare a tiny bit of food for me? I haven't eaten in 3 days. At the entrance of the tavern, some explosive yells rang out. The waiter was pointing at an old beggar who had broken ulcers all over his body, and loudly yelling to chasing him away. But that old beggar was knocking his head on the ground and painfully begging. With spirit power, Chu Feng detailedly observed the old beggar. From up to down, his body did not have a single trace of martial cultivation aura. He was a normal person who had never cultivated before. Also, he seemed to have truly been hungry for many days. His stomach was empty, and if that went on, it was likely he would starve to death. Chu Feng was not any saint because the world was so huge, and there were countless unfair things. Every day, there would probably be people who died because of being wronged. Every day, people miserably met misfortune. No one could do anything about those things, nor did anyone have the time. But Chu Feng was not also any evildoer, since things like those happened by his side, and it was within his range of ability. His heart could finally no longer bear it, and he wasn't willing to put his hands in his sleeve and merely observe. So, as everyone was too lazy to spare that old beggar an extra glance, and even hoped that the waiter could quickly kick him out so that their appetites wouldn't be affected, Chu Feng stood up, walked to the entrance, pushed away the waiter, then quickly after propped the old beggar up and said, "Old man, come over to my place and let's eat together." "Thank you, my lord, thank you, my lord." Seeing that, the old man could break from all the happiness, as he endlessly bowed with his hands clasped in front. After coming to Chu Feng's table, the old beggar started to stuff himself with food with speed that was like a gale sweeping away clouds in the sky. He had actually, by myself, cleanly finished Chu Feng's table of good dishes. "Old man, no rush. Slowly eat. Today, eat until you're full and it's all on me." Chu Feng lightly smiled and after said to the waiter, "Waiter, bring a few more fulfilling dishes." Hearing those words, the old beggar suddenly gratefully smiled and said to Chu Feng, "Young man, you are truly a good person, but sometimes good people may not be rewarded." Asterisk whoosh asterisk after speaking, the old man's gaze suddenly flashed and his originally benevolent and weak face changed. It became an extremely sinister complexion. And even though he still had the appearance of an old man, the feeling he gave others was already completely different. At the same time, the aura of the third level of the heaven realm was emanated out from the old man's body. A layer of blue-colored spirit formation also encircled Chu Feng's surroundings and sealed the tavern. The sudden change caused Chu Feng to be greatly shocked. He hurriedly leaped back and kept a certain distance with the old man, then loudly asked, "Who are you?" Asterisk whoosh asterisk the old man did not directly reply. He opened his hand, and the assassination poster that the tall male put on the table entered his hand. Quickly after, he said to Chu Feng, "I take the money of others to remove the misfortune of others. Number one in the assassination world, the hundred-faced old man is me." "What? Hundred-faced old man?" Only at that instant did the others in the tavern slowly come to their sense. After hearing the old man's words, people were undoubtedly astounded, and instantly, they trembled from fright and kept on shrieking. They originally wanted to escape. It was useless as the tavern was completely sealed and they had no places to escape. "So you're the hundred-faced old man. You indeed have some methods to be able to find me." Seeing that, Chu Feng also no longer hid. He took off the conical hat on his head and revealed his true appearance. Heavens, he's Chu Feng. And after seeing Chu Feng's face, the originally endlessly shocked crowd were frightened into being dumbfounded, because this was equal to two devils, who were the most infamous and had killed countless people in the continent of the 9 provinces, appearing in front of their faces. If those two fought, wouldn't all of them die? Asterisk him asterisk just at that time, with a thought, the aura that the hundred-faced old man gave off became strangely berserk. It had actually become pressure, and it shattered everything from stress within the tavern. Even the innocent customers there were directly crushed into pools of blood. The people who have seen my true face must all die. As he willed, after killing all other customers in the tavern, the hundred-faced old man calmly smoked. There was no change on his face, as if the ones he killed were only ants and not worthy for him to show any pity. What a savage old thing! An existence like you is the true evil. Today, I, Chu Feng, shall perform righteousness for the heavens and remove an old animal like you." Although the pressure of the third level of the heaven realm was strong, it was unable to suppress the current Chu Feng. At the present, Chu Feng was in the sixth level of the profound realm, and when the power of his two lightning was added, he was in the eighth level of the profound realm. With that cultivation, those in the second level of the heaven realm would have no way of defeating Chu Feng, and he could definitely fight someone in the third level of the heaven realm. Asterisk boom asterisk with a thought from Chu Feng. Boundless pressure descended from the sky. Even the blue-colored spirit formation, the hundred-faced old man laid trembled. Quickly after, a golden-colored longsword appeared in Chu Feng's hand. When that sword appeared, bursts of dragon roars instantly sounded. It was the martial skill Chu Feng got from the Void School that day, the blade of the Void Dragon's cry. A rank 7 martial skill has already been mastered. Not bad. Your talent is indeed special, and you are a rare martial cultivating genius. But sadly, the person you face is me. It's not that I look down on you, but with methods like yours, don't even think of fighting against me. It would be better if you took out your Asura ghost axe, then perhaps I would leave you with a complete corpse." The hundred-faced old man smiled and said. He was not feared at all when facing Chu Feng's blade of the Void Dragon's cry. He even disdained it. "So you're here for my Asura ghost axe?" Chu Feng lightly furrowed his brows. He felt that the old man was indeed not simple. He was an old fox who killed innumerable people and was also incomparably sinister. A single elite armament is priceless. How can it be bought with 1,000,000 profound beads? Although I have always believed in honesty when taking assassination jobs, when facing an elite armament, even my heart will itch. So I will take your life, and I will also take your elite armament. The hundred-faced old man had an appearance of confident in victory. "Want to take away my elite armament? Want to take away my life? That'll depend if you have the abilities or not." Chu Feng stepped forward, and his entire body became a blur of light. The blade of the Void Dragon's cry in his hand directly stabbed towards the hundred-faced old man's throat area. Asterisk, however, just as Chu Feng's blade of the Void Dragon's cry was not even half an inch away from the hundred-faced old man's throat, he raised his palm, extended 2 fingers, and trapped Chu Feng's blade in between his fingers. "No matter how much stronger martial skills are, they are only trash. Your martial skill condensed by profound power wants to touch my body of the heaven realm. Truly foolish thinking." The hundred-faced old man strangely smiled, then afterwards, a burst of heaven power came from his 2 fingers and had actually shattered the blade in Chu Feng's hand. At the same time, strong force also swept towards Chu Feng, causing him to continuously fall back, and he almost fell down. How is this possible? Why is this old man so strong? Chu Feng tightly frowned. He discovered that the hundred-faced old man, no matter if it was the degree of strength of his heaven power or his true battle power, they were both exceptionally strong, and it was absolutely not comparable to ordinary people in the third level of the heaven realm. I entered an assassination camp at the age of 5, killed at the age of 6, killed all 33 companions who were also receiving training at the age of 7, and became an assassin at the age of 8. I am the quickest person to become an assassin in the history of the assassination camp. In my career as an assassin, I have killed a total of 338, 541 people, exterminated 871 clans, and climbed back up countless times from the border of life and death. The battle skills that I have sharpened, the life and death tests that I have experienced, how can they be compared to a doll like you? Don't think that you can fight toe-to-toe with me just because you cultivated high-level mysterious techniques, because you grasp peerless secret skills, and because you grasp an elite armament that can recognize its master with your cultivation of the 8th level of the profound realm. In front of me, you are like an ant. I can take your life whenever I wish to, and you have no place where you can escape to. The hundred-faced old man's eyes were like blades and killing intent flooded everywhere. The atmosphere of his entire person became extremely terrifying. This was a true executioner, a mad murdering demon who had his hands stained by countless people's blood. Killing intent like this isn't formed by the accumulation of 1 or 2 days. Only after killing countless experts can one have such killing intent. So this is the most powerful one within assassins. At that instant, even Chu Feng tightly frowned because he could feel that the killing intent of the hundred-faced old man was no joke. That old man truly had strength that could kill him. Since it is like so, I'll grant you your wish. I'll let you experience the power of my Ashura ghost axe. Chu Feng coldly smiled, then light flashed in his right hand. The Ashura ghost axe was grasped within his palm. At the same time, he waved his axe, and a black-colored blade of light appeared and rushed towards the hundred-faced old man. The tavern wasn't really big, and at such a distance, with such boundless attacking might, the hundred-faced old man almost didn't have any place to dodge. However, he did not panic. Without fear, and with a thought, a layer of blue-colored spirit formation surged out of his brain and appeared in front of him. Asterisk boom asterisk an explosion rang out and a burst of ripples spread. The spirit formation, the hundred-faced old man condensed out, and had actually blocked Chu Feng's black-colored blade of light. But at the same time the hundred-faced old man blocked Chu Feng's attack. He had already spun around, and while holding an attacking talisman, he broke through the hundred-faced old man's spirit formation, became a line of light, and flew out of the tavern. The hundred-faced old man was not simple. With Chu Feng's current strength, it was very difficult to gain advantages if he exchanged blows with him. Before having absolute assurance, it would be wise for him to escape first. So from the start, he had never planned to truly fight with the hundred-faced old man. He had planned to escape. Crap! He laid spirit formations beforehand. However, just as he flew out of the tavern, Chu Feng stopped in the air because he astonishedly discovered that outside of the tavern, there were even more spirit formations. The hundred-faced old man had actually laid spirit formations in advance. Also, there were many spirit formations. There were absolutely not only 1 or 2. There were at least a dozen or so, and it sealed the city, binding Chu Feng within it. What a cunning brat! However, how could I, who have seen your terrifying speed before, have no precautions before coming over to you and attacking? Just at that time, the laughter of the hundred-faced old man rang out again. You've seen me before. Chu Feng tightly furrowed his brows. He felt like the hundred-faced old man seemed to understand him quite clearly. Haha, without hiding anything. I am the master of like drunk or dreaming. On that day when you fought Song Ching Feng and the others, I was on the side watching. I already know your methods clearly in my heart. You grasp 2 peerless secret skills. One is faint green-colored armor that can protect your body. The other is a white-colored tiger's claw that contains slaughtering power. However, your strength is too weak, and you are still unable to use the true power of these peerless secret skills. Right now, what your strongest thing is should be speed, as you grasp an azure-colored bodily martial skill that looks like a dragon. That martial skill is extremely quick. I have never seen such a profound bodily martial skill, so I believe that it has surpassed rank 8 and is a rank 9 martial skill. However, although that martial skill is fast, it is only suitable for chasing and escaping. It cannot be used freely as it cannot change agilely in battle. The hundred-faced old man indifferently said. Indeed, he understood Chu Feng's things extremely clearly. Haha, you do quite thoroughly understand my abilities, but since you know that I can run very quickly, do you think you can catch me in this sealed space? Chu Feng lightly smiled and said, what you're saying is that my speed of laying spirit formation isn't as fast as you running. The hundred-faced old man smiled and asked, try and you will know. Asterisk whoosh asterisk Chu Feng explosively yelled, and the Azure Dragon under him had already flew and became a line of light as he started to speedily run in the sky. And at the same time, The hundred-faced old man also willed and laid spirit formations as he wished to and wanted to envelop Chu Feng. But he could do nothing, as the speed of him laying spirit formations was truly not as fast as Chu Feng's running. You are fast enough, but if I shrink the spirit formation that is sealing you, no matter how much faster you run, where can you go? The hundred-faced old man was not agitated. He no longer chased after Chu Feng. He landed on the ground and started to change the spirit formation he laid beforehand. Indeed, after he changed it, the spirit formation that originally sealed that area had actually started to quickly shrink. That caused Chu Feng to gradually become a bird in a cage, because in that land, he no longer had space to freely fly. Ha, run. Keep on running. Let me see how you will still run. Seeing Chu Feng, who was forced to fly lower and lower and closer because of his spirit formation, the hundred-faced old man laughed loudly. Damn it. In that situation, Chu Feng started to endlessly wave his Asura ghost axe to strike the spirit formation that became smaller and smaller as he tried to escape the bindings of the spirit formation, because if that went on, he would have no place to escape, and he would easily be killed by the hundred-faced old man. But it was useless. The hundred-faced old man was truly not simple. Not only was his battle power very strong, even the spirit formation he laid was abnormally firm, and Chu Feng was unable to use the Asura ghost axe to break it apart. Give up. In order to prevent you from escaping, I have refined no small number of spirit formation rocks for these spirit formations. Their degree of firmness definitely surpasses your imagination. As the hundred-faced old man spoke, he stopped changing the spirit formation and rose into the air. Because of the distance of space, he could already freely attack. With such distance, no matter how much quicker Chu Feng's speed was, he would be within his range of attack. Die. As he spoke, the hundred-faced old man grabbed. From his palm, countless spirit formation chains explosively shot out, and the spirit formation chains interweaved, and at the end, had actually became a big spirit formation hand that was as sinister as a snake, and it aimed to grab Chu Feng. Damn it! Seeing that, Chu Feng hurried, steered his Azure Dragon to evade, because the spirit formation hands did not allow for any underestimation. If he got caught, he would very possibly be forcibly crushed to death. Run. Continue running. Let me see how long you can run for. Seeing that, the hundred-faced old man laughed, and he also extended his other hand. Another big hand formed by spirit formation chains flew out and also aimed to grab Chu Feng. It was like a game of cat and mouse, and he was even smiling so intensely. Damn it! In the very small space, even if Chu Feng's speed was quicker, he would certainly receive restrictions. In a situation like that, the hundred-faced old man's two spirit formation hands forced their way closer and closer, and very soon they were going to catch up to Chu Feng. Asterisk whoosh asterisk, but just as the spirit formation hands were going to grab onto him, a strange angle rose from the corners of Chu Feng's mouth. Quickly after, Chu Feng's right hand's Asura ghost axe was grasped once again, and the Azure Dragon under him turned, and unexpectedly, it flew towards the direction of the hundred-faced old man. Its speed of turning was extremely fast, as if it wasn't restricted by anything. With such a distance, Chu Feng's speed was simply comparable to the speed of light. Almost with a blink, he arrived in front of the hundred-faced old man. At that instant, the face of the hundred-faced old man changed greatly. However, he was also not someone who was feeble. He, who was a Blue Cloak world spiritist, noticed Chu Feng's intentions almost immediately when Chu Feng turned. So, his footsteps changed and Bagwas appeared when he stepped. He became a blur of light, and with clever angles, he escaped outwards. He did that because he had seriously studied Chu Feng's dragon traveling through 9 heavens. He knew that despite the martial skill had very quick speed, it had a weakness. It was unable to agilely change directions, and even more so, he was unable to freely turn. As long as the direction he escaped towards was tricky enough, Chu Feng should not even think of getting near him. Asterisk whoosh asterisk, but just as the hundred-faced old man evaded Chu Feng's attack, he had actually followed him as he also changed directions along with him, as if he was a shadow. How did the dragon traveling through 9 heavens even have a weakness? Clearly, it had already been thoroughly grasped by Chu Feng, and became one of his moves in battle. With the dragon traveling through 9 heavens, almost with a blink, Chu Feng caught up to the hundred-faced old man. Also, the Asura ghost axe was in his hand, and with wind-tearing sounds and its unique horrifying pressure, it unrestrainedly chopped towards the body of the hundred-faced old man. Crap, this boy can already agilely control that magical bodily martial skill. I've been tricked. Only then did the hundred-faced old man come to a realization and knew that he fell for the trick because Chu Feng was already able to control the dragon traveling through 9 heavens however he wished to and use it in battle. Before, the reason why he escaped towards all places was to diminish the hundred-faced old man's heart of alert to make this strange attack. Even though the hundred-faced old man was surprised by Chu Feng's move, he was no ordinary person. He who had extremely abundant fighting experience was only lightly taken aback before he hurriedly thought, causing a layer of blue-colored spirit formation to surge out, and it formed in front of him. However, he never would have thought that in such a crucial moment, an attacking talisman would appear in Chu Feng's left hand, and the attacking talisman had landed on the spirit formation he condensed out. That attacking talisman was created by Vice Head Gao. Its might was extremely strong, and it could even break open the spirit formations that Jai Yan laid. The hundred-faced old man's spirit formation had no way of fighting back. Asterisk boom asterisk, an explosion rang out, and the hundred-faced old man's spirit formation had been broke open. At the same time, Chu Feng's Asura ghost axe had fiercely chopped onto the body of the hundred-faced old man. Ah! A painful cry rang out and a thin line of blood gushed out. The hundred-faced old man became a line of light and fell. At the end, he fiercely fell onto the ground underneath, and a deep, huge pit was created. Some dense smoke also charged into the air. That's not right. However, Chu Feng, who had extremely sensitive spirit power, did not feel happy because he struck the hundred-faced old man. Instead, he tightly furrowed his brows and tightly stared at the rolling smoke underneath, and a hint of uneasiness rose from his heart, because he astonishedly discovered that, as his axe chopped onto the body of the hundred-faced old man, there was some power that dissolved the might of his attack and caused the power of the Asura ghost axe to be unable to be fully used. Chu Feng didn't kill the hundred-faced old man. From that chop of the axe, damn cunning brat. If I didn't have this elite armament as protection, I would have taken quite a hit. Indeed, just as Chu Feng felt that something was off, the hundred-faced old man became a line of light, and from the rolling dense smoke, he gradually rose into the air. There were still traces of blood on the corners of the current him. His face was also a bit white, and there was also a blood wound on his chest, but he did not receive the fatal blow. Also, there was a layer of radiant armor surrounding his body. Looking at its appearance, it had the exact same effect as the bracelet Song Qingfeng and the others used. Without a doubt, it was the radiant armor that saved his life. Bai Yunfei, Liu Xiaoyao, and Tang Yishiu were killed by you. Chu Feng's eyes glittered as he loudly questioned. That's right. They were all killed by me. I intentionally killed them, then pushed the crime onto your head to cause the 4 big powers to be greatly angry at the same time. Then I recommended myself so they would ask for me to kill you. The hundred-faced old man replied. So it's like this, but I don't understand. If you want to kill me, you could have done it back then. Why did you need to wait until now? Also, if you want the reward, you could have gotten it after you killed me. Why did you need to so troublingly recommend yourself? Chu Feng puzzledly asked. The reason is very simple. I want your elite armament, but I also want the reward. So I got them to pay me half of the reward first, then I would kill you afterwards. With this, even if I go back on the contract, I won't lose much. But the four big powers aren't idiots. No matter how much better my reputation is, they wouldn't give me 500,000 profound beads for no reason at all. After all, even to them, it is not a small number. So, I had to make them more furious, so they impatiently wanted to kill you without being able to wait for a single moment. And currently, I have already succeeded. Right now, the last step is to take away your life and take your elite armament. The hundred-faced old man said, "That means you have 500,000 profound beads on you." Chu Feng intentionally asked after a thought in his heart. "Haha, boy, you aren't thinking about my profound beads right." Hearing the implications within Chu Feng's words, the hundred-faced old man couldn't help but loudly laugh, and within his laughter, mock was filled. "Actually, I want to say that I'll be taking your 500,000 profound beads." Asterisk whoosh asterisk suddenly, Chu Feng leaped, became a line of light, and flew straight towards the hundred-faced old man. HMPH. You think that I, right now, will still be afraid of you. However, the hundred-faced old man was not afraid in the slightest, and he had actually flew back towards Chu Feng asterisk boom 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 asterisk with a blink. The two of them fought together. Ripples of powerful energy constantly exploded in the sky, and they were as striking as fireworks. That scene caused the citizens in the city, who were looking, to be dumbstruck. At present, the city was sealed by layers of spirit formation, and the people in the city could not escape. At first, they didn't know what was happening, but after seeing Chu Feng and the hundred-faced old man in the sky, they finally knew what was happening. So the hundred-faced old man was there to chase after Chu Feng, and that city became the battlefield of the two people. But luckily, the hundred-faced old man laid many spirit formations, and to limit Chu Feng's speed, he even specially shrunk the range of the spirit formation inside. That also caused their circle of battle to shrink, causing the citizens within the city to not be affected, or else with their strengths, and after a while of great battle, the city would certainly be flattened, and the citizens of the city would also die. With the man-made elite armament, the hundred-faced old man's speed and power increased greatly. They were even several times stronger than before, and he who was extremely practiced in spirit formation techniques was already one with attack and defense. As for Chu Feng, the attacking might of him who grasped an elite armament was also not to be underestimated, especially when joined with his absolute speed. Even the hundred-faced old man didn't dare to be careless. The battle between the two was extremely intense, with the cultivation of the 8th level of the profound realm, and with special methods and outstanding skills. The result of the battle was extremely difficult to determine when he was fighting the hundred-faced old man, the #1 assassin in the 3rd level of the heaven realm. An ending did not appear even after battling for several hours. "Brat, I must admit that you are a genius. Being already so outstanding at this age, if you step into the heaven realm in the future, perhaps even the Jiang dynasty must look at you straight. But sadly today, you will die by my hands. My patience has been completely whittled away, and I don't that time to continue fooling around here with you. Let's quickly finish this." The hundred-faced old man flashed and got rid of Chu Feng. Quickly after, he landed underneath and changed the spirit formation once again. He wanted to shrink the battle space even more so that Chu Feng would not have a strand of chance to escape. With that, he could easily put Chu Feng to death. Damn it. It seems like I can only use that to give it a try. Chu Feng was quite smart, so he immediately understood the hundred-faced old man's intentions. He first swept his gaze for a while. Then, after looking at the city that was covered by layers of spirit formations, quickly after, his gaze suddenly turned fierce, and he leaped, then dashed towards the hundred-faced old man who was changing the spirit formation. HMPH. You want to stop me from changing the formation. He is useless. I, as a Blue Cloak World Spiritist in terms of defense methods, am far above you. Don't even think of touching me. The hundred-faced old man coldly snorted. A layer of blue-colored spirit formation surrounded him and protected him inside. The final two attacking talismans, Victory or defeat will be decided by this. However, Chu Feng did not move slowly. His palm lightly brushed past his cosmos sac, and the remaining two attacking talismans appeared in his palm. He first threw one at the spirit formation, and with a boom, the spirit formation the 100-faced old man laid was shattered by Chu Feng's attacking talisman. HMPH. I would quite like to see how many more of these overbearing attacking talismans you have. The 100-faced old man coldly snorted and wanted to recondense a spirit formation to defend against Chu Feng. I'm afraid you won't have this chance. But just at that time, radiance greatly bloomed, and the faint green-colored armor had actually gave off a large area of white-colored fog, instantly engulfing the 100-faced old man. At that instant, even the 100-faced old man's expression couldn't help but change greatly, and at the same time, he retreated a few steps, because he astonishedly discovered that in front of him, in Chu Feng's previous position, an extremely terrifying huge beast appeared. That huge beast was faint green-colored, and it seemed like an invulnerable huge tortoise. But on the body of the tortoise, an extremely horrifying huge snake coiled around it. The snake and tortoise seemed to be one, and they emanated extremely terrifying aura. What is happening? How did Chu Feng suddenly become such a terrifying monster? Is it possible that the reason he defied common sense is because he was never a human in the first place? Can it be that he's a horrifying monster? Just in that split moment, the 100-faced old man was scared, because within the monster in front of him, he felt an extremely terrifying aura. It was an aura that suppressed his, an aura that he could not fight against. Wait, this is an illusion. But suddenly, the eyes of the 100-faced old man flashed and his expression changed. He, as a blue cloak world spiritist, felt that the monster in front of his eyes wasn't real and seemed more like an illusion. Thinking to that point, he hurriedly condensed spirit power to break the illusion in front of him. As expected, just as his spirit power became condensed, the monster in front of his eyes started to fade away. Crap! However, as he broke the illusion, he did not celebrate because of that. Instead, unprecedented fear surged on his face because, at that very instant, an extremely horrifying attacking talisman at that moment had already landed on his chest. Asterisk boom asterisk a rumble exploded in front of the 100-faced old man's chest, and instantly, he miserably cried out, was thrown dozens of meters away, fiercely collided into the spirit formation that he laid himself, then powerlessly fell limply onto the ground. At that instant, although the 100-faced old man's 4 limbs were still complete, there was a huge hole in his chest. His dantian was already damaged, his organs were ruined, and he was vomiting mouthfuls of black blood, and his body was endlessly twitching when fallen on the ground. I never would have thought that even this attacking talisman couldn't directly take his life away. No wonder even my Asura ghost axe was unable to harm him. So this is the power of a heaven realm body. Looking at the 100-faced old man who fell onto the ground, constantly twitched, and had already lost power to fight, Chu Feng muttered to himself, and his face was filled with an emotional expression. Although he knew the reason why the 100-faced old man's physical body was so strong was indeed partly due to the man-made elite armament, his original body was extremely strong as well, or else he wouldn't have been able to use the power of the man-made elite armament. This time, even though Chu Feng won against the 100-faced old man, it was a risky victory, and he also relied on an unexpected surprise attack. It could be said that the reason why Chu Feng won against the 100-faced old man was because he didn't rely on his own body's strength, but his own wits and that single strand of luck. In the past few days, although he was killing the disciples of the 6 big powers everywhere, he was simultaneously honing his own battle techniques. The reason why the dragon traveling through 9 heavens was able to be freely used by him in battle was the result of the past few days. Other than that, Chu Feng even comprehended the black tortoise armor technique. Just now, he used it to bring the 100-faced old man into a dulled state so he could not continue condensing spirit formations, and it gave Chu Feng a chance to heavily injure him with the attacking talisman. To be more precise, what Chu Feng relied on in his surprise attack was the black tortoise armor technique, as well as the attacking talisman Vicehead Gao gave him. That was Chu Feng's final trump card. If he failed, he would die, but he succeeded, because no matter if the 100-faced old man had even more abundant battle experience, was even more cunning as a person, he never would have expected Chu Feng to be able to grasp S. He even didn't need to lay spirit formations, and he could use it with only a thought. Exactly because of that carelessness, he took a great hit. At that instant, Chu Feng truly couldn't help but want to sigh in admiration towards the master of the Emperor Tomb, because he created such a strong secret skill. Otherwise, truly, Chu Feng wouldn't have had that much luck. Asterisk him asterisk Chu Feng, this isn't good. He wants to condense a consciousness. Suddenly, Eggy nervously reminded, only at that instant, did Chu Feng discover that the 100-faced old man was indeed condensing his consciousness. Although his dantian was already damaged, and his cultivation cultivated in many years was flowing away, his consciousness was still equipped with a portion of his cultivation. If his condensation was successful, it would not be a small trouble to Chu Feng. I'm sorry, but it's better if you die away peacefully. Chu Feng waved the Asura ghost axe in his hand and chopped towards the neck of the 100-faced old man and cut off his everything. New tilde tilde tilde. In response, the 100-faced old man, who was already heavily injured, yelled extremely bitterly and loudly. However, Chu Feng had no mercy. With a poof, the head of the 100-faced old man fell onto the ground, and at the same time, the consciousness he was condensing was also shattered by the power of the Asura ghost axe. The 100-faced old man thoroughly became a dead person, and there was not a trace of aura remaining. Ha ha, Chu Feng, you boy, not bad. What you've done today was beautiful. You won an unwinnable battle, and I truly look at you in another light. Quick, absorb this old guy's source energy. The fresh source energy of the 3rd level of the Heaven Realm should be able to help me break into the 5th level of the Profound Realm, and there's even a possibility that I break into the 6th level of the Profound Realm. Eggy happily shouted. Chu Feng also didn't move slow, and he hurriedly helped Eggy to absorb the 100-faced old man's source energy. Just as Eggy thought, her cultivation indeed rose from the 4th level of the Profound Realm to the 5th level of the Profound Realm. Although she was unable to reach the 6th level of the Profound Realm, there wasn't much to it. Afterwards, Chu Feng checked the 100-faced old man's cosmos sac. The seemingly insignificant check caused Chu Feng to be instantly endlessly elated, because the 100-faced old man's cosmos sac was truly a huge treasure trove. Within the 100-faced old man's cosmos sac, there were profound beads. There were over 623,500 beads, and other than those, there were even 23 low-quality heaven medicine, and there was a single medium-quality heaven medicine. And other than those cultivation resources, there was even a special world spirit compass. That world spirit compass was golden colored. It seemed to be created by gold, yet it was not gold. Radiance did not flash everywhere, but there was plenty of texture. Anyway, it was extremely special. Speaking with Eggy's words, it was a high-quality world spirit compass. Who knew how many times stronger it was than Chu Feng's? It was a priceless object, and all in all, it was an extremely rare good thing. Other than the special world spirit compass, there was even a world spirit blue cloak, and a large amounts of spirit formation rocks. Those spirit formation rocks could be placed within spirit formations, and it could cause the might of the spirit formation to become even stronger. But because the prices for them were too high, very few people were willing to add those things when laying spirit formations. But within the 100-face old man's cosmos sac, there was an extremely terrifying amount of spirit formation rocks. Over 300,000. Even if Chu Feng used spirit formation rocks every day, The large number of rocks would be enough for him to use for many years. Other than things world spiritists used, there were even many precious treasures. For example, man-made elite armaments. Within his cosmos sack, there were even 2 sets of those. In addition to the ones on his wrists, there were 3 sets. It could be seen that Liu Xiao Yao, Tang Yi Xiao, and Bai Yun Fei were indeed killed by the 100-faced old man. But it had to be said that this time, Chu Feng had earned greatly. Haha, truly, as expected of the 100-faced old man, the #1 assassin in the continent of the 9 provinces. It seems like he has really quite a few treasures stored. His cosmos sack is simply a huge treasure trove. Chu Feng could almost dance from excitement, because that was definitely a huge sum of wealth. Perhaps the wealth the 100-faced old man gained from killing a lifetime of people, and accumulated for his entire lifetime, all landed into Chu Feng's hands. Over 623,500 profound beads, in addition to 23 low-quality heaven medicine, and 1 medium-quality medicine. Even if they couldn't help Chu Feng break into the 7th level of the profound realm, it would still become quite a good foundation. Besides throwing the cultivation resources on the side, every single item in the 100-faced old man's cosmos sack were the so-called priceless treasures. Things that were extremely expensive. If he sold those, their prices would even be far above the cultivation resources. It had to be said that in the 100-faced old man's life, he truly obtained quite some wealth. Although it was impossible to be compared to peak powers like the prestigious villa, it was also not comparable to second-rate powers. But sadly, it went all to Chu Feng. Crap. Although the 100-faced old man has died, the spirit formation he laid is still here. Blue-colored spirit formations. My current methods cannot break it, and I have even used up my final attacking talisman. Doesn't this mean that I'm like a turtle in an earthen jar, and that I'm trapped in here? But just as the happiness arrived, Chu Feng's face couldn't help but freeze, and after that, black lines appeared on his forehead because when he raised his head, he discovered that the layers of blue-colored spirit formations were still there. That thing could imprison him to death. If he was unable to escape this place, by the time someone notified the 6 big powers and sent the heads over to catch Chu Feng would really not be able to escape then. Asterisk boom asterisk, however, just as Chu Feng panicked, a deafening rumble rang from the outside of the city. Even the land under Chu Feng's feet slightly trembled from the rumble. Asterisk boom 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 asterisk quickly after. Several rumbles continuously rang out, and at that instant, Chu Feng astonishedly discovered that the layers of spirit formations which sealed the city was being broken through one by someone. There was someone who came from the outside and was entering and broke open all the spirit formations. Asterisk boom asterisk finally, another rumble rang out, and looking towards the place where that noise was being emitted, Chu Feng found out that a beautiful body was currently slowly approaching. That beautiful figure was a young female's. She wore a purple-colored skirt, had a complexion of absolute beauty, sweet face, graceful body, and alluring curves. Her power was also extremely overpoweringly strong. Although she was only in the 9th level of the profound realm, she was able to easily break open the layers of spirit formation the 100-faced old man laid earlier. And who else could that young female be? Naturally, it was the person who Chu Feng waited for a long time, Ziling. Ziling. After seeing Ziling, Chu Feng was also elated because not only was Ziling going to save him from that place, the most important thing was still that, after waiting for so long, he was finally going to have returns today. After being separated for a few days and seeing Ziling again, Chu Feng's feelings were completely different from before. He couldn't help but put down quite a bit of the alert in his heart, because in the past few days when he wandered around the Qin province, other than hearing things about himself, Chu Feng also discovered that in the marriage gathering, the person Ziling announced to be the one she loved was him, and she even cut off her relationship with the prestigious villa because of that. To be honest, In a time like this when there was even a person willing to follow him, and even stood out to support himself without caring for her own safety, Chu Feng was truly moved in his heart. Real feelings are seen when disaster strikes. Perhaps that was true, but Chu Feng never would have thought that Zi Ling would be the one who was going to back him up the most. It had to be said at that very instant. Chu Feng finally felt that the all sorts of things he did for Zi Ling was worth it. He did not risk his life for nothing, and he did not take those crimes for nothing. Zi Ling. When Zi Ling broke open the last spirit formation, Chu Feng continuously walked several big steps and arrived in front of her. Quickly after, he opened his arms, and like a powerful fierce tiger pouncing on its prey, Chu Feng took Zi Ling's extremely beautiful body into his embrace. At first, when she saw Chu Feng, Zi Ling was very joyful as well. She did not have any objections when Chu Feng hugged her like this. But what could she do when Chu Feng was very dishonest? Not only did he hug Zi Ling very tightly, he even squished Zi Ling's 2 lumps of softness, her almost developed chest, and deformed them. And after putting Zi Ling into his embrace, Chu Feng's hands had actually unrestrainedly wandered around Zi Ling's body, and that struck her bottom line. It caused Zi Ling's thoroughly white little face to instantly become red. Quickly after, not only did she get rid of Chu Feng's embrace, she also, with a little hand that tore through the air and made hoo-hoo sounds, fiercely slapped Chu Feng's face. With a clear bang, Zi Ling's pretty little hand left a deep, red-colored little handprint on Chu Feng's face. Chu Feng was stupefied and thought in his heart, "What's this situation? Hasn't she already announced her love to me? Why doesn't she even allow a hug? I know that you must have heard some things. Indeed, I, Zi Ling, have already quite. But males and females must keep a distance. Before officially marrying, before I become your wife, don't think of doing impolite things to me, or else," Zi Ling said while pouting. When she spoke to the crucial point, her little face even reddened. That girl was actually embarrassed. Or else what? Chu Feng first shamelessly smiled, then curiously asked, "Or else? Or else I'll kill you." Zi Ling's little mouth curled, and within her clear eyes, a hint of killing intent had truly appeared. At that instant, Chu Feng hiddenly cursed, because he could see that Zi Ling seemed to truly be a girl who guarded her body like jade. Also, no matter how she announced she liked Chu Feng in front of outsiders, when she was in front of Chu Feng, she seemed a bit embarrassed. A girl like that was very difficult to deal with. Chu Feng could not force it, or else all his hard work would have been for naught. He could only sweet talk and bit by bit break through Zi Ling's line of defense. But luckily, Zi Ling already had feelings to him. Even if Zi Ling didn't say that, Chu Feng could feel it. So he did not rush it because he had confidence that sooner or later, Zi Ling would be his. Also, Chu Feng discovered that after Zi Ling, the exceptional little beauty, shed off the layer of alert towards him, he had to say that he truly liked a girl like her who was sinister, cute, fierce, and stubborn. Even if he didn't want to love her, it would be hard. What are you shamelessly smiling about? Zi Ling first fiercely shot Chu Feng a glare, and she knew that Chu Feng definitely wasn't thinking about any good things. Quickly after, she no longer paid attention to him. She cast her gaze towards the corpse of the 100-faced old man nearby and muttered, "You have actually killed the 100-faced old man. You're as strong as usual, You've collected quite cleanly as well, but you missed one." After arriving in front of the 100-faced old man, Zi Ling curled her lips and said, "What did I miss?" Chu Feng asked confusedly. He clearly looted all of the 100-faced old man's treasure. "Do you know why this 100-faced old man is called the 100-faced old man? It's because he can change his face to 100 different ones, as well as 100 different auras. That causes people to be unable to catch him and to be caught off guard by him. The reason why he could do all this wasn't because he relied on some special mysterious technique. He relied on this." As she spoke, Zi Ling extended her hand and grabbed the 100-faced old man's face, which was filled with blood, and stuck her fingers deep into his flesh. Asterisk poof asterisk indeed, Zi Ling, the cruel little girl, truly stuck her own fingers into the face of the hundred-faced old man. However, when Ziling's 5 fingers deeply entered the face of the hundred-faced old man, his bloody face gave off faint brilliance. Quickly after, Ziling's hand suddenly retracted, and a half-transparent mask appeared in Ziling's palm. And at that instant, the face of the hundred-faced old man changed to another. Even though it was still bloody, there was indeed change. This is the hundred-faced old man's most precious treasure. Not only can it transform one's face, it can even transform one's aura, and even world spiritists can't detect it. When concealing aura, it does it very thoroughly. I wanted this treasure before, but I could do nothing as it was exactly the hundred-faced old man who had this magical mask on him. So almost no one was able to find him, and even my grandfather couldn't find traces of him. But right now, this thing is your spoil of battle. After finishing speaking all that, Ziling waved her hand and threw the magical mask over to Chu Feng. Since you like it so much, you keep it. Chu Feng indifferently smiled, then threw it back to Ziling. Seeing that, Ziling squinted her eyes, and the corners of her mouth rose, revealing a bewitching light smile that was so sweet it could make a person drunk. Quickly after she walked, and step by step, she came in front of Chu Feng. She raised her beautiful little face and said to Chu Feng, "You need it more than I do, so carefully keep it." As she spoke, Ziling put the mask on Chu Feng's face. Asterisk whoosh asterisk at that instant, Chu Feng felt a strong burst of suction power from the mask sucking on his face, as if it was going to enter his skin. His appearance also at that instant had changes. He looked like another person. Even though he still looked like a young man, it was completely different from Chu Feng's original appearance, and even his aura was completely different. Asterisk whoosh 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 asterisk. Quickly after, as he willed, his face changed continuously. Also, it could follow his thoughts and return to his original appearance. Haha, this is truly a good treasure. After feeling the wondrousness of the mask, Chu Feng was elated. He thought in his heart when he first saw the hundred-faced old man today, and was unable to see that he was a cultivator. It was definitely because of the marvelous mask. And with treasure like that on his body, in the future, Chu Feng could do many evils and not leave any traces of him behind. No one would know what he did, and it was simply the best tool for committing crimes. Of course, the reason why the hundred-faced old man has his current position is because he relied on this treasure. Even my grandfather said that this mask is undoubtedly a strange treasure. He doesn't even know where the hundred-faced old man got it from. Ziling curiously said, but quickly after asking Chu Feng, "Do you have any plans?" "I do. I'm preparing to go visit the Fire God School." Chu Feng said, "You want to go to the Fire God School?" After hearing those words, Ziling's little face slightly changed, but there wasn't too much shock. She didn't ask Chu Feng why and just straightforwardly said, "That's fine, let's go." "Ziling, are you truly going to follow me? You should know how dangerous it is to follow me at a time like this, right?" Chu Feng asked. Hearing that question, Ziling sweetly smiled and said, "It is but the 6 big powers. What is there to fear from them? Not to mention them, even if you poke a hole through the heavens, so what? I, Ziling, will still accompany you and be by your side." Asterisk ba-dum asterisk. After hearing that, Chu Feng's heart couldn't help but intensely jump 2 times, and afterwards, his brain went blank and some unspeakable feelings were born in his heart and entered his brain. Although he had already heard of Ziling's determination to follow himself, after all, he only heard it on the road. Chu Feng couldn't determine it was true or false, so he didn't fully believe it. Today, when he personally heard Ziling say those words in front of him, Chu Feng was indeed moved, and good feelings towards the little beauty in front of him couldn't help but multiply. "Okay, stop daydreaming. Since the journey has been decided, let's quickly leave." Ziling said, "Okay, my wife, come on the dragon." Chu Feng proudly smiled, then the Azure Dragon underneath him appeared. He couldn't even help patting the place where Ziling sat before, inviting her to quickly sit. However, when facing Chu Feng's call, Ziling fiercely glared at him. but she didn't say anything. Instead, she curled her lips and said, "Your bodily martial skill is indeed not bad, but after all, it's a martial skill. Since we want to hurry, it's better to sit on mine." As she spoke, Ziling flipped her right hand and an exquisite chariot appeared on her palm. The chariot was only as big as the palm. It was completely jade green colored, as if it was made by jade, but it was extremely beautiful. There was a total of 10 wheels, and there were 2 horns at the front of the chariot. They seemed like sheep horns, yet like cow horns, yet like dragon horns. They were both beautiful and also domineering. On the top of the chariot a picture was engraved. It was an indescribable animal. It seemed like a monstrous beast, yet also like a symbol. But the most important thing was that the chariot unexpectedly gave Chu Feng a feeling of indestructibility and invincibility. It also contained unique might. Ziling, yo, you also have an elite armament. Such a unique feeling caused Chu Feng to instantly recognize that the chariot, which was as big as her palm, was an elite armament. My grandfather said that since I chose to follow you and take risks, he will not care about my life. Even more so, he wants secretly follow me to protect me. Life or death will depend on the heavens, and he will not interfere. But seeing that it wasn't easy to raise me up to this age before I left him, he gifted this to me. This chariot isn't the strongest within elite armaments in terms of offense or defense, but its speed is absolutely peerless in the world. Ziling sweetly smiled, then after, she lightly waved her hand, and the as big as her palm left her hand. Quickly after, light shot in all directions, and with a blink, it became a huge chariot that was 5 meters wide and 10 meters long. At that very moment it was floating off the ground. Wah, what a beautiful chariot! Chu Feng was stupefied. At that instant, there was even more beautiful than when it was on Ziling's palm, and even more domineering. The most important part was that, after it became larger, the unique might of elite armaments became fully evident. It was a lot more overbearing when compared to the Jiang dynasty's chariot that was pulled by a monstrous beast back then. Stop staring and let's go. Ziling grabbed onto Chu Feng, and the doors of the automatically opened. Ziling leaped with her alluring body and entered along with Chu Feng. Asterisk hu asterisk after the chariot doors closed, the 10 wheels started to spin in midair. Their speed got quicker and quicker, and layers of special gas was emitted from the wheels. At the end, under the wheels, clouds had actually appeared. Asterisk swish asterisk suddenly, a rainbow charged into the sky and rose, and the chariot disappeared. That speed was several times quicker than Chu Feng's dragon traveling through 9 heavens. Shortly after Chu Feng and Ziling left, and after the people in the city hesitated for a long time, they could no longer bear their hearts of curiosity and started to carefully walk towards the battlefield between Chu Feng and the 100-faced old man. But when they arrived at the battlefield and saw the deep pits on the ground, as well as the buildings that were unrecognizably destroyed, many people felt fear. At that time, only a person called Fearless Lai bit his teeth and walked over. At that instant, everyone was standing outside of the circle of battle, and they started fixedly at Fearless Lai and awaited his answer. Finally, Fearless Lai made some sounds. He loudly shouted, "The 100-faced old man is dead. The 100-faced old man has been killed by Chu Feng. There's only one corpse here, and it is definitely the 100-faced old man." What? The 100-faced old man actually died. Titled as the #1 assassin in the continent of the 9 provinces, killed countless people and never failed, the 100-faced old man died. He has actually been killed by Chu Feng. When that news was known, almost everyone was greatly taken aback and felt disbelief, because no matter how much more godlike the news about Chu Feng were before, no one would believe that he could break common sense so much to the point he could defeat the 100-faced old man. After all, the 100-faced old man was originally a legend who was never defeated, a name that would cause one to feel fear if they heard it. However, after that thing got known, people had no choice but to believe it. After all, many people had heard the dialogues between Chu Feng and the 100-faced old man, and many people had seen the great battle between Chu Feng and the hundred-faced old man. Even later on, when someone asked the elder, who was in the assassination camp that the hundred-faced old man went before, for identification, the result was that the old man who died was definitely the hundred-faced old man. When that news got known, it instantly shocked the 9 provinces because it meant that Chu Feng truly defied common sense. If he even killed the hundred-faced old man, who would be able to kill him? Was it possible that the heads of the 6 big powers were truly required to come out in order to handle a young man who was only 16 years old? But no matter how the outside world sighed in shock or how they were shocked, when the Xianxia School, the Fire God School, the hidden white sect, and the free and unrestrained valley heard that news, they were doubtlessly furious. It did not only mean that they failed once again to kill Chu Feng. It even meant that the 500,000 profound beads they combined to take out were like rocks spent to skip water. They were very possibly given to Chu Feng for free. 500,000 profound beads entered Chu Feng's hands once again. That really caused the roots of their teeth to itch, causing them to angrily slam the table. Actually, ever since putting Chu Feng on a wanted list, they had already shattered countless tables because every time news about Chu Feng came, it would certainly not be any good news. But at the same time they were furious. They started to feel uneasiness because Chu Feng was really too overwhelming. Right now, the pillars of enmity had already been firmly laid. If Chu Feng continued to develop like that, one day, even they wouldn't be able to defeat Chu Feng. At that time, wouldn't a great disaster come? Because Chu Feng's fame became bigger and bigger. Someone had already announced Chu Feng's actions in the Azure province to the 9 provinces, and many things that Chu Feng did became legends. Something about Chu Feng flattening the #1 school in the Azure province by himself killed so many people that the head of the Xianxia school abandoned his school and escaped. Several million disciples were all slaughtered and not a single lived. Blood flowed and formed rivers in the Xianxia mountain range. The corpses could fill an ocean. Also, there was the one about Chu Feng going to the Qilin Prince's mansion's execution grounds. Killed many Qilin Prince's mansion generals, guards, and even with the lord of the Qilin Prince's mansion there as fortification. They were unable to suppress Chu Feng and could only watch with their eyes wide open as he brought the person away and left the corpses of countless Qilin Prince's mansion's members. Anyway, not only were the things that Chu Feng did in the Azure province spread, they were even made godly, and that caused the people who did not know the truth to believe those things to be the truth, and they even made a conclusion regarding Chu Feng. It was that Chu Feng was simply the reincarnation of a slaughtering god. The people who offended him would not end up well, because currently, Chu Feng had already killed no small number of disciples and elders from the 6 big powers, and he was indeed taking his revenge. If he truly develops one day, they believe that the Xianxia School, Fire God School, Free and Unrestrained Valley, Sword God Valley, Hidden White Sect, and even the Jai clan would follow the dust of the Xianxia School and be annihilated. That caused the heads of the several big powers to panic, because they felt that Chu Feng was truly a calamity. That calamity had to be removed. Even if they couldn't get the elite armament, even if they could not open the treasure, Chu Feng still had to be removed, or else they would be facing a huge disaster in the future. So the Xianxia School, Fire God School, Free and Unrestrained Valley, Sword God Valley, Hidden White Sect, and the Jai clan, the 6 big powers united and wrote a letter, asking the Jiang dynasty to send out troops to remove the demon Chu Feng. Or else, if Chu Feng develops in the future, he would very possibly be like the monster king of the 1,000 Monster Mountain back then, and a rebellion would start. On that day, even the Jiang dynasty would be facing an approaching danger. And when facing the united letter from the 6 big powers, as the ruler of the continent of the 9 provinces, the Jiang dynasty would not be in a good position to only sit and not do anything about it. So the Jiang dynasty sent out a batch of experts who entered the Qin province and started to search for the whereabouts of Chu Feng. It had to be said that after the people from the Jiang dynasty started to move, Chu Feng kept an extremely low profile. Ever since killing the 100-faced old man, he never reappeared. Facing that situation, everyone started to guess one after another once again. Some people felt that Chu Feng was afraid of the might of the Jiang dynasty and didn't dare to go wild, so he hid. Some people also felt that even though he won against the 100-faced old man, Chu Feng suffered heavy injuries and was currently recuperating. Perhaps his injuries hadn't recovered and he died. However, they never would have thought that the current Chu Feng already left the Qin province and secretly arrived to the Song province that the Fire God School controlled. After a period of time of observing and understanding the Fire God School, Chu Feng and Ziling found the location of the senior tombs of the Fire God School, however, because the head of the Fire God School was there to oversee everything. Even if it was Chu Feng and Ziling, they didn't dare to rashly enter. Facing the expert in the 5th level of the Heaven Realm, the two of them feared as well. However, after a few days of studying at the geography of the Song province and some comprehension of the Fire God School, Chu Feng and Ziling made a plan. On that day, with the magical use of the magical mask, Chu Feng changed his face and went into the Fire God School. You said you know the whereabouts of Chu Feng, and he is in the borders of my Song province right now. One of the manager elders of the Fire God School had the cultivation of the 3rd level of the Heaven Realm. After hearing Chu Feng's words, he half believed and half doubted, and didn't fully trust him, because after the wanted posters were sent out, many people wanted to swindle some money, and they provided quite a few fake information. Even if they were real, they were useless. So, that caused the elder of the Fire God School to be very alert. It's true, I saw Chu Feng. Right now, he is in the Beast Capital mountain range in my Song province. Chu Feng firmly said. He started to lie. His little face did not redden or pale as if what he said was all true. Really? How did you meet Chu Feng, and what did you see? Start from the beginning. The manager elder seriously asked. At the same time, a pair of fierce eyes tightly stared at Chu Feng, wanting to find a loophole. When I saw him, he seemed to be seriously ill. His face was deathly white and powerless, and his skin was even a bit purple. He was fighting with a monstrous beast that was in the 8th level of the profound realm in the mountain range. At first, Chu Feng was at a disadvantage, but later on, his aura suddenly violently rose and it reached the 8th level of the profound realm. Also, azure-colored gas appeared underneath him. That gas was very strange. It seemed like a snake yet was not, and seemed like a dragon yet was not. Anyway, as long as it moved, its speed was odd, and I wasn't able to clearly see his movements before he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was definitely in another location. But even so, Chu Feng was still unable to defeat the monstrous beast. Because the physical body of the monstrous beast was too hard, Chu Feng could not injure it. Finally, Chu Feng brought out a huge black-colored axe. That axe was extremely scary. It was 2 meters long and it was huge. There was a hook on the back of the axe, and when Chu Feng waved it, it even shot out a black-colored blade of light. That blade of light was too powerful. It chopped down a large area of trees, and relying on that axe, he killed the monstrous beast by force. However, after killing the monstrous beast, Chu Feng lost his strength and rested a long time on the ground. Only then did he hide into a mountain cave, and seeing that he didn't come out after a long time, and when he entered, he even laid layers of spirit formations. I believe that he should be cultivating in isolation. So I hurriedly came here to notify you. Chu Feng fabricated stories and could even draw the sounds and colors. His words were extremely realistic, as if the things he spoke of truly happened. That caused the eyes of the manager elder of the Fire God School, who heard about it, to glitter, and his face changed. It was because Chu Feng said many things that others didn't know about. For example, the dragon traveling through 9 heavens that Chu Feng grasped, and also the appearance of the Asura ghost axe Chu Feng had. as well as all sorts of other special characteristics. People could not find out about those things other than those who personally saw Chu Feng. Wait a moment. So, that Manger elder hurriedly reported that matter to the head of the Fire God School. After the head of the Fire God School got hold of that news, he was also greatly shocked, and he hurriedly gathered 3 manager elders from the Fire God School and passed down a treasure to the manager elders. He also told them to bring 20 Grey Cloak World Spiritists who had cultivations in the peak of the Profound Realm to go forward to the Beast Capital mountain range to catch Chu Feng. The reason why the head of the Fire God School didn't personally go out was because he could still not confirm that the news was real. Also, he was also afraid that this was Chu Feng's plan of luring the tiger out of the mountain by taking the chance when he left to surprise attack the Fire God School. After all, he didn't know how Chu Feng got sick. Why was Chu Feng, who should originally have battle power that broke common sense, even unable to defeat a monstrous beast who was in the 8th level of the Profound Realm, and had to use his full strength to defeat it? Before clearing those things up, the head of the Fire God School would not personally move. Besides, if the news was truly accurate, and Chu Feng had difficulty even defeating a monstrous beast in the 8th level of the Profound Realm, then it should be too easy for 3 Heaven Realm experts to catch Chu Feng. Besides, within them, there was even one in the 3rd level of the Heaven Realm. That level, even if it was in terms of the entire continent of the 9 provinces, could be counted to be a peak-level character. In addition to 20 extremely experienced Grey Cloak World Spiritists, who were all over 60 years old, there shouldn't be any problem if they wanted to break open the spirit formations Chu Feng laid. So the head of the Fire God School felt that if the news was reliable, this time, they could certainly catch Chu Feng. Thus, with Chu Feng's trickery from the Fire God School, an elder in the 3rd level of the Heaven Realm, 2 elders in the 1st level of the Heaven Realm, as well as 20 Grey Cloak World Spiritists with ages past 60, all moved out at the same time. They formed an old group of 23 people and headed towards the Beast Capital mountain range to apprehend Chu Feng. Although there weren't many people heading there, the 20 Grey Cloak World Spiritists were going too slowly, as their cultivations were still in the Profound Realm, so they could only use the white-headed eagle as transportation to hurry. In addition, the Song province was also very large, and since the Beast Capital mountain range was quite far from the Fire God School, only after a full few days did they finally arrive within the Beast Capital mountain range. My friend, you said that Chu Feng is cultivating in isolation here, but why is there no mountain cave here? There aren't any spirit formations as well. An elder in the 1st level of the Heaven Realm stood next to Chu Feng and furiously interrogated him, because after following Chu Feng to this place, they did not discover any traces of battle, let alone any spirit formations or mountain cave. There was a huge feeling of being tricked. Chu Feng is clearly here. Don't you see him? Chu Feng's had a face of innocence. Nonsense. Where is he? Why haven't I seen him? That elder was even more furious. He already determined that they were tricked. You old blind man, do you see him now? Suddenly, Chu Feng abruptly stuck out his hand and with lightning speed, he grabbed that elder's skull. At the same time, his face also changed along and became how it was originally. Heavens, yo! You're Chu Feng. After seeing Chu Feng, the face of the previous incomparably furious elder instantly became pale white because, at that very instant, Chu Feng had already used the power of the lightning and raised his cultivation to the 8th level of the Profound Realm. Chu Feng, who had that cultivation, could even defeat those in the 2nd level of the Heaven Realm, let alone an elder in the 1st level of the Heaven Realm. So, at that very instant, Chu Feng was pressing his hand on the elder's skull and was helping Eggy absorb his source energy. Finally, as the elder miserably cried, Chu Feng absorbed all of his source energy, and the elder had no more life force. He powerlessly laid on the ground and had died. Your Fire God School dares to put me, Chu Feng, on a wanted list. Today all of you will die. With the lightning methods, after killing the elder, Chu Feng furiously roared towards the sky, within the circumference of several miles. Both birds and beasts were frightened, and many monstrous beasts were terrified to the point they howled in low voices and escaped towards the distance. Chu Feng, he's actually Chu Feng, quickly lay formations and catch him. At that instant, the people from the Fire God School finally reacted, and the world spiritists in the profound realm started to lay spirit formations and wanted to use spirit formations to catch Chu Feng. Even a group of garbage want to catch me. However, Chu Feng casually threw out a palm, and as ripples exploded, the bodies of 3 world spiritists shattered and they were crushed alive by Chu Feng. All of you quickly back away. I'll take care of this child. Seeing that, the elder in the 3rd level of the heaven realm attacked. He emanated layers of heaven power, and they swept towards Chu Feng. HMPH. Even the 100-faced old man wasn't able to defeat me. You think you're worthy to fight me? Chu Feng coldly snorted and used the dragon traveling through 9 heavens. He leaped and became a blur of light as he dodged the elder's attack. At the same time he arrived behind the elder, the Asura ghost axe appeared in his hand, and he, without mercy, chopped towards that elder's back. You're wrong, I never thought of killing you. I just wanted to imprison you. However, just as Chu Feng's axe was going to land, the elder suddenly turned around and a smile that showed a scheme succeeded, formed by the corners of his mouth raising, and a strange but special little bowl appeared in his hand. Asterisk after the little bowl left the elder's palm, it quickly enlarged and had actually covered Chu Feng, and at the end, it fell onto the ground. Quickly go back and notify the school head. Say that Chu Feng has already been caught by me while using this profound Bagua bowl. But I must continuously channel heaven power into it in order for this child to be unable to escape. Quickly ask for reinforcements from the school head. After using the so-called profound Bagua bowl to cover Chu Feng, that elder's face was quite unsightly. Although the power of the bowl was extremely powerful, it clearly needed boundless heaven power as support. However, he was still ecstatic because he caught Chu Feng. That was a meritorious deed, and he would definitely be heavily rewarded by the school head. Elder Zhao, I'll stay behind and help you channel heaven power into this profound Bagua bowl. Another elder said, no need, I am enough myself to support it. Right now, quickly go back and notify the school head or it will be too late. The elder refused. Hearing those words, after the elder in the 1st level of the heaven realm bit his teeth, he didn't hesitate anymore and he leaped into the air, then ran towards the Fire God School. Elder Wei. At that instant, the remaining 17 world spiritists blankly stood there, and they didn't really know what to do. It was because they discovered that even though they were also in the profound realm, in front of Chu Feng, they were really too weak. Chu Feng was truly as powerful as the legends. Even a manager elder in the 3rd level of the heaven realm needed to use so much strength in order to temporarily suppress Chu Feng. All of you, stay behind and protect me. I must use my entire body and heart to fortify this profound Bagua bowl, or else despite this bowl being extremely special, without my heaven power's fortification, it can still be broken apart by Chu Feng with his elite armament. That elder seriously said, yes, sir. Seeing that, the 17 world spiritists also didn't dare to hesitate, and they hurriedly, with the manager elder as the center, started to lay spirit formations from the outside to the inside. After all, the Beast Capital mountain range was also a gathering location for monstrous beasts. Although it wasn't as powerful as the 1,000 Monster Mountain, and there weren't any heaven realm monstrous beasts there, there were monstrous beasts in the peak of the profound realm. Without the cultivation of the heaven realm, it was extremely troubling for them if they wanted to take care of them. With that, the elder never-endingly used heaven power to fortify the so-called profound Bagua bowl, and the 17 world spiritist in the peak of the profound realm guarded around him desperately and protected him. Up until the time changed, after the day turned into night, only then did Chu Feng suddenly speak, still not coming out. If you still don't, I'll be bored to death in this broken bowl." At first, facing Chu Feng's abrupt howl, the crowd of the Fire God School were surprised, but they didn't understand the meaning behind Chu Feng's words. Truly annoying. However, only after a beautiful figure flew out from a nearby forest, and with simple actions, broke the spirit formation they laid and killed all 17 world spiritists in the peak of the profound realm, did the manager elder come a realization. They were tricked, so that was a trap that Chu Feng had laid at an earlier time. You're Ling. That manger elder had gone to the prestigious villa before, so he instantly recognized Ling. But he never would have thought that Ling, who was only in the 9th level of the profound realm, would actually be that powerful. She could so casually kill 17 world spiritists from his Fire God School. Those 17 world spiritists could be said to be the most excellent world spiritists in his Fire God School, all of them cultivated for dozens of years. And they were existences who had very excellent battle experience and spirit formation methods. But even so, they could not even take a single strike from Ling. "That's right, I'm Ling. However, actually, I can tell you a secret." Ling lightly strode forward, and as she elegantly walked towards the manager elder, she sweetly smiled. What secret? Although Ling was only in the 9th level of the profound realm, for some reason, that manager elder felt an extremely dangerous aura from Ling's body. "Actually, I'm a." Suddenly, Ling's pupils started to change, and they instantly became purple-colored. At the same time, layers of purple-colored flames surged out of Ling's body. Extremely terrifying might descended from the sky. That power was very strong, and even if that manager elder was in the 3rd level of the heaven realm, he was unable to fight against it. Damn it! At that instant, the elder was suddenly shocked. He finally discovered that Ling, the beautiful little girl, was a monster even scarier than Chu Feng. Divine bodies. Those were existences only in legends. They were divine bodies bestowed by the heavens, and what they had was power that was granted by the heavens. Their powers weren't something ordinary people could fight against. Thinking to that point, how could the elder still care about continuing to bind Chu Feng? He held the profound bagua bowl and threw it towards Ling. Useless. However, Ling didn't even move. The purple-colored flames were like savage fierce beasts, part savage devils that came from hell, and they had actually forcefully shattered the profound bagua bowl. Swish seeing that, the face of the manager elder changed greatly from fright. So why would he even dare to continue tangling with Ling? He leaped and wanted to escape. Whoosh however, Ling did not give him that chance. The purple-colored flames became a purple flame huge mouth, and instantly, it engulfed the manager elder. Quickly after, within the surging purple-colored flames, the manager elder unceasingly made heart-tearing and lung-splitting miserable cries. However, the sound of the miserable cries became smaller and smaller, and weaker, then finally disappeared completely. At that instant, Ling's purple-colored eyes gradually returned to normal, and the purple-colored flames also returned to her body. However, looking back at the manager elder, there wasn't even a single bone remaining. They were all cleanly engulfed by Ling's purple-colored flames. Looking back at Ling, he discovered that there was a cosmos sac on her hand. Chu Feng saw that cosmos sac before. It was the manager elder's. "You girl, you are quite scary. You're only in the 9th level of the profound realm, yet you face someone in the 3rd level of the heaven realm so easily." Chu Feng sighed and said, "HMPH." After hearing those words, Ling fiercely looked at Chu Feng disdainfully, then quickly after, said, "You think that you're the only one who grasps special power. No matter what you say, I'm still a divine body. How can my power be comparable to ordinary people? Not to mention the 3rd level of the heaven realm. Even if it's a person in the 4th level of the heaven realm, I'm not afraid either. If I break into the heaven realm, even if it's someone in the 6th level of the heaven realm, I can still fight." Ling said while being full of confidence. It could be seen that she was extremely sure in her own power. Is the heaven realm that hard to break into? Before, when you closed yourself off in the prestigious villa, you were trying to break into the heaven realm, right? Chu Feng curiously asked. Of course it's hard. It's extremely hard. Do you think that the heaven realm is truly so easy to enter? At first, when I isolated myself in the prestigious villa, it was only my first time trying to break into the heaven realm. After you left the prestigious villa, my grandfather tried to help me to break through 2 more times. But those 2 times ended as failures. I must say that the heaven power isn't that easy to comprehend. Even if I'm a divine body, there's still some difficulty. Ling pouted her little mouth. She seemed to feel displeased, because she was unable to succeed after trying to break through 3 times. You girl, people can only successfully break into the heaven realm when they are over 20. Yet you want to break into the heaven realm when you're only 15. Even if you're a divine body, have divine power bestowed by the heavens, and have talent that normal people don't have, you can't have strength that defies the heavens, right? Chu Feng smiled. What do you know? Divine bodies should originally have strength that defies the heavens, or else they can't be called divine bodies. My grandfather said before that the continent of the 9 provinces is only tiny land. The people here mostly have extremely poor martial cultivating talent. So that's the reason why there are several tens of billions of people, yet very few people are in the heaven realm. This world is very big, and there are countless people with high martial cultivation talent. There are also many people who are geniuses that can break common sense. With normal standards, the martial cultivation talent of the people in the continent of the 9 provinces can be counted to be very trash. So, even if they are the ones with the best talent within several tens of billions of people, they can only step into the heaven realm when they are roughly 20 years old. However, if it's that region, there are actually many people who step into the heaven realm at the age of 20, but even those people cannot be counted as apical geniuses. At most, they are only geniuses. True apical geniuses must step into the heaven realm before the age of 20. Only people like them can be recognized as peak geniuses, real geniuses. And if I, as a divine body, cannot enter the heaven realm before the age of 20, I simply shame the name of divine bodies and am not worthy of being one. Ling's face was filled with stubbornness. That region? What region? However, what Chu Feng was more curious about was the region that Ling talked about, where people's martial cultivation talent was extremely high. That is. Hearing Chu Feng's question, Ling hesitated a bit, but after thinking for a while she still said to Chu Feng, other than the continent of the 9 provinces, there are many other continents. Those continents are quite similar to the continent of the 9 provinces. There are many citizens on the continent, but people's normal martial cultivation aptitude are horrible. On a continent like that, there is usually a ruler like the Jiang dynasty. But in reality, those continents aren't everything of the world. Rather, they can only be counted as a corner of an iceberg because my grandfather said at the west of the continent, there is a boundless and borderless sea region. In that sea region, there are many strong forces of powers. The disciples of those powers all have abilities that are extremely powerful. Take and put any ordinary disciple into the continent of the 9 provinces, and that disciple will become a genius in people's eyes. That doesn't mean that those people's talents are good. It just means that the people in the continent of the 9 provinces have horrible talent. I've heard that the sea region is very large. On the sea, there are boundless continents, and underneath the surface of the sea, there are even powerful sea beasts, countless remains, countless treasures. That sea region is named as the and my grandfather, and I came from that sea region. Sooner or later, I will return to that sea region. It's because my parents were killed in that sea region. My clan was exterminated in that sea region, so I will avenge them. Sooner or later, I will return to that sea region and avenge my parents. Speaking to that point, Ling was clearly a bit emotional. At that instant, Chu Feng also finally understood why Ling was a divine body, yet no one knew. It was because Ling wasn't born in the continent of the 9 provinces. She was born in the. Also, Chu Feng knew why Ling and her grandfather were so powerful, yet had to hide like a turtle in the continent of the 9 provinces. It was because Ling was burdened by deep enmity that was like an ocean of blood. But clearly, her enemy was very powerful, so powerful that her clan was exterminated, and only she and her grandfather escaped to this place. So no wonder Ling would so impatiently want to become stronger. It was because she wanted revenge. Regarding the emotion of revenge, Chu Feng deeply knew about it, so he could totally understand Ling's feeling. Ling, your enemy is my enemy. Tell me who they are. In the future, I will definitely help you kill them. Chu Feng grabbed Ling's delicate white hands. Feeling the warmth coming from his hands, Ling's heart trembled and she awakened from her furious hatred. Looking at Chu Feng in front of her, she sweetly smiled and said, I also don't know who they are because my grandfather said to me that because I'm too weak right now, I am not even worthy enough to know the name of my enemy.